Hello, everyone, and welcome to a particularly fabulous Tuesday.
Exciting.
We're here to play old games.
Really?
Just kidding.
No, we're talking about Everfest today. Hey, if there's an audio delay, we've been troubleshooting 1,000 ghosts in the machine currently. So I would love to know that. If you guys can let me know, and if it sounds great, that would be lovely to know too. Meantime, we've got
essentially do our voices line up with our mouths?
People will know. So meantime, we have a couple of previews actually. We've got 2 cards to show you, and then technically a 3rd card, which is the alt art promo that's going out in the old Everfest First Edition subscription. So
that's pretty exciting.
To show off.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I was going to say, I'm going to post all of the images, the card images, in our Discord channel as well. Bryce is going to be doing that as we announce them, so you don't need to scramble to screenshot the screen. We're going to bring everything in nice. It's going to be a good broadcast, and then we'll have those card images on our Discord, so you can grab those, put them in card reveals, whatever it is.
Now, I don't know how up to date the whole marketing team is, but I assume they're pretty up to date. So, do we have even like the recently revealed cards, like in the past? Apparently, yeah. I walked out from a call I was on, and out there they were saying, "Have you seen the new Guardian card?" And
yeah, everyone's screaming Pulverize, and I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna do a live react video to it.
Yeah. I did see some arrows this morning that I thought were really good, and then they're just kind of pretty good.
Dude, those arrows are great.
Well, we'll get into it. Hey,
great, brother.
I want to read this comment real quick from Simon Svensson, I think is how you say it. In the last 1.5 weeks, I've watched some 80 to on the game and the channel. Simon, welcome. I love hearing that.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Wonderful game, wonderful publisher, amazing community. So definitely a big welcome. Hopefully you made it over to our Discord channel because that's where a lot of the great people that we talk about a lot hang out and talk about the game. And, of course, in the live chat, as so many of you are here today.
Shall we kick it off?
The sound, did we figure that out?
Oh, it's all right. I'm gonna keep tweaking it. Just tell me if it's behind or ahead.
People are saying they lost the audio.
It's gone? Can't be gone. Yeah, we're good.
Clancy, audio went out for a second.
So this is something we've been troubleshooting this off the air, but something in OBS just isn't liking us right now. But anyway, let's show you some.
OEO saying audio synced.
Okay, good. Good.
Hopefully you can hear and see us.
Synced? Good? Yes? Perfect? Okay. Yeah, it's good. Yay.
We have arrived just in time.
I'm not gonna touch anything.
Particular moment. Where do you want to start?
Man, you know what? You got that folder? We'll start with some coffee.
Yeah, let's get some coffee. Thank you so much, Rafe.
Beautiful man. Yeah, sure.
You can. Thank you so much, everyone. This is Rafe. He and a handful of others do the hard work around these parts. All the ops team we refer to quite a bit.
Thank you.
Where do you want this? You can just put it right here.
Also, we'll be front of house in Store 3.0.
Yeah. So when if you're a first system subscriber, you've already been charged. You'll be getting the promo. We'll be shown a little bit, and they'll be the ones responsible for making that happen.
That's right.
Anyway, shout out to them.
And Rafe's got the kind of face you can trust. Okay, let's start out with that equipment.
This thing?
You want to open that up?
Yeah. So you want to show this? I want to talk. Obviously, we'll get to the previews. We're not going to make you wait like an hour to see this thing. But I want to talk about Legend Story Studios for a second, because when someone is doing something well, I'm trying to get better myself, both personally and professionally, about calling it out.
I've been saying that for about 10, 15 years now.
Yeah, you were the test dummy for that process.
I'm crushing it, and you're not saying anything.
I feel like I'm way more verbal than I've ever been.
You're way more verbal.
That's a concentrated effort. Anyways, so we've always talked highly about how they handle preview season. I saw yesterday a lot of the people doing previews were apparently from the Magic community. And there's one card I had no idea because I don't have the Magic brain. That apparently is kind of a nice nod/reference to an old Magic card. So
the fire one.
Yeah,
fire breathing. Yeah,
fire breathing perhaps. But we've been experiencing their preview efforts. The first preview we did with them was for Crucible, and they sent like pre-built decks because that was back when we were fab babies. You know, just barely learned to walk.
Didn't even know how to swing a weapon at that point.
But pre-built decks with previews in them, and we just play. It was great. But they did the same thing here, and you can tell it's a little things to me. But it's like they sent this playmat, this preview package. They had this little thing wrapped up, and it's a Everfest preview partner, a custom sticker. They did not have to do that.
Yeah, custom sticker.
Like
Look
this,
at that.
this thing seals without that sticker.
Yeah.
But like this is just a nice feeling thing.
Remember when we used to print our shipping labels on those?
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Those were crazy times, man.
Robert walking off to go to the post office to wait in line to like hand get postage for all that stuff. Yeah, crazy times.
Simon Svinson says, sad that my entire comment was gone in the audio hiccup, but super cool to be mentioned on the stream. Heart, so excited, and also an Azalea fan here.
Did our audio cut out when I was talking about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, hey, welcome. Yeah. Simon, right? That was his name?
Simon, yeah.
All right, you ready to open this thing?
Yeah, let's open it.
All right, let's just see what we got.
It's just kind of cool. You may as well play into the format, I guess, of opening things and being excited.
Now, we want to see the, apparently there's equipment. You want to see that first? Okay, so this is just a nice bonus. That's a cold foil Icelander.
Oof.
That looks great.
Yeah.
5 out of 5 stars. Wood.
I'm really excited about ice being applied to a wizard like this. You know what I'm not excited about? Young heroes. I can be a curmudgeon.
I'll tell you what I'm excited about, though.
I can be a curmudgeon today, can I not?
Bravo.
Yeah, I know, right?
Star of the show. Speaking of not young heroes, we'll be talking about that in a minute. So let me pull this thing out.
Looks gorgeous, though. My gosh. Didn't you say that somebody said that their cold foiling was getting better?
I don't know.
People were talking.
People were talking.
No, really. Apparently, there's a change in the format. It's not just the borders. Now it's all the full card as well.
Oh, that is important. So a lot of the earlier versions of Heroes, the cold foiling was just on those borders. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That looks so good.
Yeah.
And you know the art quality and whatnot. Now I just realized too. So we're gonna look at this card in a second.
We'll pop it up on the screen.
But it's the only card in here, so I'm gonna have to go get. We have copies of the other card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't it look so good?
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to get? Also, this is what they do the random cold golds in.
Yeah, it's good.
On that note, before we get into anything really saucy, ProQuest coming up, the season's coming up. A lot of stores have the registration up finally for that stuff. Ours is March, I think 12th or 13th. Mm-hmm. That time frame. Registration's on the website. There is a limited amount of space, but yeah, cold golds. I saw we got the package in the other day that had it in it. We're not opening it. We don't know what it is, but I am so excited to see. I assume it's like the Majestics and the Rares and stuff.
Is that what your gold Arcanite's call cap came in?
It is.
ProQuest champion Zach Bunn?
In fact, they've rebranded. Those events are no longer called ProQuest because ProQuests are happening in stores. Have you heard the new name?
Yeah. I
was less excited about it.
I told Brendan this morning that the serpentine organized play structure and trying to figure out where and what is happening is harder than doing my taxes.
My taxes are pretty easy because I just pay someone that knows what's going on. You ready to do this? Let's reveal the card.
Let's check it out. So this is a warrior helmet.
It looks so good in cold foil, dude.
It's called the Helm of Sharp Eye, which you would think might be a ranger card, but alas, it is not. So we get an attack reaction here. It's a 1 cost. You destroy the helm to do it. Of course, you can block with it for 1 before you do that, so you're going to get some value there. You can play it, banish the top card of your deck, and then you can play it this combat chain, activate it only if you control a weapon with attack greater than twice its base strength.
Not equal to, greater than.
Yeah, it's got to be greater than, right?
As the resident, most recent Bolton player.
Mm-hmm. So my brain immediately says, well, Raiden's going to solve the greater than its base strength thing immediately because it goes to +3.
It's like
base strength is 0. Yeah. So that is an immediate use. You also have to imagine, heroes like Dory. You've got Dawnblade at 3. Now here's the weird thing, right? So let's say you got Dawnblade at 3. The hip kids sometimes now are playing Sharpened Steel in Dory, so they give them +3 to their sword going into that weapon attack. So then it's technically double, but not greater than double. If your Dawnblade has a counter on it, now you're solving this condition. If you play an attack reaction on top of that, I believe you're solving this condition. I think it all counts for your base strength being higher. And then we looked at this card, and it's like, what was the card? Stroke of Foresight? I think it's where you can look at the top card of your deck and then put one on the top or bottom. Mm-hmm. So there's some weird synergies to look at with this where like you can Stroke of Foresight, you look at the top thing, you put it on because it's a reprise effect, and then it's like, okay, I want to banish this one this turn, put that in, pay the 1, banish it. So there's some weird like card engine stuff that you can get with this. But honestly, I'm just excited to see something that I can play that is an Arcanite Skullcap.
Yeah, so
that's essentially what I'm looking for.
Compared to Arcanite Skullcap, right? This is an equipment that's always blocking for 1. Mm-hmm. Skullcap maybe blocks for 2, then maybe blocks for 1. Depends on the state of the game.
Yeah.
So Skullcap is worth 2 extra health, and you get the side Arcane Barrier reality. And I really like. as far as we know, I don't know that they've directly said it, but in the Arcane Rising going out of print article, they had the skull cap that has the EVR on the bottom as the set number or whatever it is. Yeah, EVR.
And Sansu, this is a really good question. Before we get any further, I don't know if it actually raises. I'm gonna have to look and see if it actually raises the attack. Anyway, go ahead.
So that weapon gets +3 for this.
Well, it says your next weapon attack gets +3, but I don't know if the weapon's strength is actively affected by that.
Surely.
We'll find out. We're doing some live deck building right now.
So then the question, regardless of whether or not you can see the top card, obviously if you're paying 1 for this Helm of Sharp Eye, right? How many cards in your deck are just playable? Because you're obviously attacking, right? With a weapon, it double the thing. Playable and very useful in that moment, right? Because you're gonna have to lose a card to pitch to play this, right? But you probably already pitched to swing the weapon.
You have to, yeah.
Except for Raiden. maybe didn't. But you have those floating resources around. So it definitely feels like anytime you're maybe gaining access to more cards on a turn, that's a very powerful ability.
Yeah, you gotta keep your eye out.
Yeah, I do think that's a super, super powerful ability.
So looking at a card like Stroke of Foresight, it says target weapon attack gains +3. Now that is a great question. See, when I saw this card originally, I think a lot of folks would be with me on this, is like, that's gonna be +3 to the weapon attack, but the weapon isn't necessarily higher strength. It's the attack the weapon is doing that's getting the strength added. So this might ultimately just be really a shout out to Bolton, because Bolton's going to have abilities that actively buff his weapon whenever you block with an attack action. It's also going to have Lumina, I think, gives all weapon attacks or weapons.
Well, does Raiden's text give it plus?
Yeah.
Just straight up. So
yeah, this weapon gains +3.
Yeah, so it would always work on Raiden. Hey, I'm going to go grab the other card.
Grab the other ones, yeah. You're thinking of the Centauri would work. What do you guys think? Is this, where are the judges? Where are the judges on this? I know there's judges on this. Is this just, does like, sharpen steel and stuff, it doesn't work with this, does it? This may be just a beautiful Bolton hat. Because sometimes you're like, I should be running that Halo, and then you're like, no, I shouldn't, and then you put that stupid skull cap on instead.
The Halo of Illumination.
Okay, David Cornwall saying, the question you're asking is going to be answered in Comp Rules 2.0.
Which apparently is on the way.
There's discussion about whether a weapon attack buff affects the weapon itself. So we'll see. I guess we will have to see in the end. I also saw somebody saying the it's here, twice its base strength. Listen, here's the thing. That is technically correct. And I have died on this hill a million times.
James asking if we can pop the full image of the card again.
Yeah, pop it up again while I.
All right, let me read it. About it. All right, you may play it this combat chain. Activates ability only if greater than twice its base strength. What's the issue?
So the colloquial usage of its at this point, you drop the apostrophe, even though it's a possessive pronoun.
Dude, it's like that third comma in the list.
Yeah.
It's like A, B,
you gotta have
and
the
C.
Oxford comma. You have to have the Oxford comma.
I always do the third one.
You gotta have the comma.
It actually drives me, it's a little pet peeve when I see a sentence without it. It's fine, but my brain can't. It's like I was trained to do it a certain way, and that's how I'm supposed to do it.
You gotta have the comma. I'm just saying, standard rules that actually I think I learned in the early days. These many years ago. That apostrophe is a possessive apostrophe. People just don't use it anymore because they need a better indicator of it is versus a possessive it's. But technically, it's completely accurate.
I mean, if we're going into the English language to fix things that are confusing, I feel like that's low on the list to me of the hill I'm going to die on. That
Look it up. Apostrophes are possessive. Anyway, Raiden Bolton, yes, does work. That is 100% it.
The question is,
does Dawnblade
the counters give +1?
Yeah, so they give the direct. It's got to be written that way on purpose.
But still, I don't know. This seems so unplayable if Dory on Dawnblade only gets to use this when she gets to 3 counters on Dawnblade.
Yeah, no. I mean, you already won the game at that point. Tell me 4 counters.
Yeah, so to me, if you're giving +3 to Dawnblade with an attack reaction, you're still not a double. The fact that it has to be more than double
feeling more like a Bolton card by the second.
She's got to get to 7.
Or a new warrior.
Yeah, or
Could be a new warrior.
if it works as I think it works, once she gets 1 counter, a +3 now gets her to 7.
Yeah.
And that checks out.
That's where I was thinking,
Yeah.
like Sharpened Steel or Stroke of Foresight, those kinds of things.
I'll tell you what, though, regardless of how this works at all, this is a great looking cold foil. It's so hard to show cold foil in pictures and video.
It's a beautiful card.
I love it. Well, you want to give some other context? I know everyone's here.
Let's get some bread and butter out of this.
Do you want to show the normal one first? Or
the normal
different
one. The normal one.
Well, let's pull up the normal version of In the Swing.
And Bryce, can you go ahead and put this in the Discord if you haven't already?
Yeah, he's got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
All right, In the Swing. This is a preview card. This is also the card that will be our exclusive preview for the set. First edition subscribers will get this. We do have spaces available in our first edition subscription, by the way. So if you are unaware of that and want to sign up for the next set, now's the time.
Won't work for Everfest, but the next one.
Yeah, that's right.
If you drag your feet here, put it here. Put it here. I'd like to see it.
This is the different version.
I want to see that. Do you only have the promo?
Yeah, I don't have the regular version.
Have the
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't in the
right.
pack.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So I'm going to read it and then we'll lay this thing down.
Let's lay it.
0 cost, 3 defense, red card, warrior attack reaction. Play In the Swing only if you've attacked 2 or more times with weapons this turn. Target weapon gets +3.
You love to see it, man. You love to see it. First of all, there's something that will always make me happy. There's 2 things that are going to make me happy, Zach, and of course you've been around me enough to know that. One of them is bread and butter fundamental card effects. No fancy business. We're not going and searching our deck for 17 items.
You could be concerned, which some people do that. You could be concerned that going into set 6 or set 7, they're about to. I've seen games, right? And I think most of the time these are the games that are designed
raw deal
in reaction.
Yeah.
Like we designed a core experience that went well. We're going to keep making cards, and you keep upping those stakes.
All those throwbacks, even.
So with Fab, you kind of. There's this tension of it's pretty fundamental till now. And some things are getting close to breaking that, right? Briar's efficiency, even Chain and his inevitability. And so is it that we're starting to see the full power level of this game as it was intended, or is it that this is a game running away from the designers? Mm-hmm. And cards like this and a lot of the previews we've been seeing makes me think they are just serving.
Yeah, they're
just serving right now.
It's just that fundamental. It's supporting an archetype. It's supporting an archetype for warrior that typically is seen as less than. So right, you have Dory Dawnblade currently, which is the kind of the standard, and then you have Bolton, Raiden, or Sabers is your question. Are you going big combo wombo, or are you going to play a good game? And then you have the Dory Hatchets, you have Bolton Hatchets, and Cassie with Sabers. You've got this idea that warrior is supposed to be this expert master of weapons, and then you throw in just the slightest improvement over your standard reaction card template that allows those kinds of heroes to have a slight advantage because they're using 2 weapons and swinging twice. Like, think about, what is it, Singing Steelblade, I think is what it is. It gives me nightmares every time.
Is that the +1?
It's the only 0 for +3 that exists.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to block with a card from hand because it's a reprise effect. So that's the current templating we have for a 0 for 3 reaction. Yeah. So now you're coming into this, and it's a 0 for 3, but it has a light condition on it. You have to have attacked twice. But you think about, my brain goes to hit effects on those attacks. I'm thinking about Lumina turns. I'm thinking about, anything that has that hit effect that's going to be able to push through for a 0 out of hand or a 0 out of arsenal. A lot of potential there. And it's not like revolutionizing the idea. It's just giving you an extra 3+ value over the course of the game.
Well, and I think it's also just giving...
Iron Song response.
It's also giving warrior... Steelblade Supremacy is the Dory. Especially
there's the Supremacy, which is the draw the card, and there's the Singing, which is the search effect.
The thing for me is the biggest, when I'm playing against warrior, the biggest frustration is if I know all the options you might have in your hand, it changes when and where it makes sense to block. Mm-hmm. And suddenly you have this scenario where a lot of times against a Dory, even Dory uses this card well. First attack, coming in for 3, doesn't have go again. It's like, nope, not touching it. Mm-hmm. You hit, you have some way of giving it go again.
Yeah,
right?
you got the glint because you always do.
So they do 3, they're swinging again, and now they're swinging the second time. They hit, they get the token, right? Which is what you're trying to prevent. You don't want them to get the token. And so the reality here, right, that second swing is this is perfect for that. And every time you have a second swing, I have to honor a +3. Now, in most cases, a second swing on like the axes or even the Centauri sabers, there's not hit effects going on.
Yep.
But there are exceptions, right? It's when...
Well, with Cassie, so Cassie's is what? If you hit your second swing, do you get the copper? I can't remember. I don't play Blitz.
I think so. Yeah. I think its second swing is free, and then you get copper if it hits or something like that.
Dory getting the token, like you're saying?
Yeah. Even Bolton, when he's got like Lumina going.
Dude, Lumina like on this? Surprise.
Second thing. Or...
Got no money?
I also really like this in the if it hits, it gets go again scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever those cards are.
Oh, yeah. There's
something
like Warrior's Valor.
Isn't Dust Path a hit effect if it goes? You can swing
Dust
again?
Path is
swing again?
Sword can be used again, but doesn't give you go again. Mm-hmm. But you've got all of these, man. Warrior's just going to be... They're always ridiculous. You feel like they're able somehow to thread the needle on Warrior. I think it's probably one of the more impressive lists from the design side, because the class has every piece of the pie to be utterly unbeatable. Mm-hmm. Because like they're reacting at all times to whatever it is you decide to make as a mistake.
Yeah.
And yet it's just right there in the pocket. So far I'm really impressed by it. And adding this to the arsenal, I think gives a lot of support for some wider warrior decks that I tended to like. I had an old Dory Sabres deck back. We played it in the Snow Day stream. And that was super fun, you know?
Another important part of a zero cost reaction like this is if you are going wider, you need more resources for the going wide bits. Mm-hmm. The getting the go again, the multiple swings of the weapon. So having reactions that don't cost money but can only be applied after a certain point.
Yeah. It's a good gate, right?
It's a good gate. It's like a 0 for 3 is fine as long as there's a restriction.
Like I know going into that second attack, they could have in the swing. Yeah,
but it could be if I block an attack, you have the +3 from a prize. Or it could be you just get to the second swing, you're going to get +3. And that's what I mean by Warrior. They just need to have enough threats that you can't pick. Even if I lose to Warrior, I can 95% of the time pick the right decision to block or not.
Yeah.
Based on the cards that are currently available.
It makes them feel really skilled with weapons. Because they're always like getting the upper hand. You're like, that's why you just, you got to kill them with fire.
You want to show this promo?
Yeah, check out the promo. So I'm jacked about this promo. This is the promo in the swing. And the foiling on this card. So all of these promos, of course, do come in foil. And... it's just so good. It's ultimately just so good. Do we see a two-handed axe that can be swung multiple times for Warrior in the future? I don't know. I'm not willing to commit whether or not that's happening, and I truly don't know if that's happening. So let's not.
But it looks like it.
It sure does, doesn't it?
The thing about these foils that every time it's like the lightning cards. When you have a streak of light going across a card like this, obviously it's going to look really great in foil.
Yeah. So. The art on this, phenomenal. The foiling, because of that art, phenomenal. A hero of sorts taking an axe to some sort of evil anvil? What is that? What do you think's going on in there?
It looks like a shield.
Is it? Oh, it is a shield, of course.
Like some guys like holding up a shield.
It's like a strange, savage beast holding up a shield and getting...
Tom Rose apparently saying that's the Spill Blood Warrior.
In the swing. We're going to get... Do we have the Spill Blood Warrior? Any conceptual idea of who that is? Mm. You guys there's some lore people out there.
There's so many characters sprinkled throughout this art. Even we were seeing, there's the really cool Illusionist card that got spoiled today, which we'll show. It's like, I think it's a totally new character. Same character was on like Spears of Sorality or whatever.
Oh, that's my favorite style of illusion. I was telling you.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, look at that. Nice. You can zoom in on that.
Timothy Lee. Wow. So that's the TC promo. Sure is.
That's it. In the swing.
Every box being sent through a first edition subscription for Everfest. Assuming you're in on that train, we'll be getting one of these cards.
Assuming you got in on it, you should say. The train has left the station on that one. But if you're thinking to yourself right now, you know what? I would like to just get first edition boxes in the future with these promos in them. A new one for every set. So far, they've not let us down on the promo front. So if you just want to make sure that happens for you, just sign up right now.
And massive shout out
won't be charged for another
to all our subscribers. We stream Fab pretty much every week. We've been doing the Fab Foundation series. None of that's really possible without all the subscribers out there. So if you are a subscriber, Unlimited, Blitz Stacks, any of them, huge shout out to you for making this possible.
So let's do a quick recap. So Helm of Sharp Eye.
Yep.
Not sure still. I came in with a wild assumption, which is why I'm a judge's worst nightmare. Didn't even ask about it. I was like, oh, I know how this works. Could be that a weapon attack getting added strength applies in terms of a weapon having greater strength. It could be that it's explicit, which I think is probably the case. So cards like Raiden are looking way better for it. We could also see cards that directly... See, actually, what I was about to say makes me think for sure it has to apply directly to weapon strength, because now you have another design lever that you can start sending cards through that are actually buffing weapons like for the turn rather than weapon attacks. And then Helm of the Sharp Eye is going to synergize with that. So I would guess that's how it's going to work. So you've got Raiden. What else? You've got Bolton's ability as a way to get things above their strength.
I also have like Glisten, right?
The hatchets also get +1 if you've used the previous one. So if you can find a way to get that +2. Glisten, of course. Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, it's definitely how it works.
So you don't think an attack reaction that boosts a weapon is going to make
a weapon
that?
attack? I don't think would hit this.
Really?
I think this is to open up the make my weapons really strong builds with cards like Glisten that are criminally underused right now in general Light Warrior.
All right,
that's what I'm saying.
You want to take bets?
Well, yeah, I'll take a bet. What do you want to bet?
Lunch?
I'll bet that Arcanite Skull Cap, the gold foil.
I don't think I'm going to bet that.
I'll buy you hot and sour soup from Gigi's. Fair?
Something tells me the scales are a little off on this one.
Anyway, Helm, beautiful card. Love it. I love having an Arcanite Skull Cap alternative. Then we have the standard in the swing, which is going to be included in the set in the booster boxes, booster packs, etc. And then, of course, at the end of all of this, you have the promo that is sent via our subscription for first edition booster boxes in the swing promo. And there you have it. We're also going to now run down all the previews that have been revealed so far, or at least that we have been aware that have been revealed so far. And we're going to have a great conversation about these cards.
I'll say I have it on good rules authority from Ryan Roper that he thinks reactions work.
That's about as good as God.
It's as close as you can get to direct for me on the rules front. So let's start.
That makes it way more playable.
Do you have the cards that were? Are you going to guide us through this journey? Do you need me to pull something up? I can do it.
Yeah. So check out your
old droppy.
Old droppy. Yeah, check out old droppy.
I think I can get most of it.
There's a folder called Everfest for hosts. They're so kind to us. Yeah, Jonathan, you can just search for it. You afraid of a search bar up there?
I don't really use this ever.
It's like watching.
Oh, hey, nice.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at you guys. Very nice of you.
Arranged by name. Okay, you got it.
And these are large images. You're going to have to stay on top of chat, though, because I can't do two things at once.
Okay, if you got the large images over there, then I'll hang out with chat.
Yeah, all right. We've already seen the helmet. We've already seen In the Swing. Looking great. In the Swing Part 2.
Yeah.
Next up, we have In the Swing again.
Yeah, all the colors. Obviously, yeah, we kind of went out of our way to do.
Now we have a very zoomed in. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to zoom out.
Oh, friends, I can't wait to talk about Brute.
Skull Crushers. Let's pull Skull Crushers.
Can we just be real about? Should we go? Do you guys want to?
Well, it's going to be.
Is it nicer just to see?
Go back there. That's a small card. You can still see you.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I don't know. It's like prettier here. We just look like a bunch of old, washed up. Fab
There's
players.
just nothing that we're showing.
Yeah, I know. You're telling me.
Skull Crushers. You want me to read this? You want to zoom out?
What?
Can you hand me the coffee? I'm going to need it for this. I got a feeling. It's behind you. Oh, they're behind. Yeah.
Are we putting on a 2-part act here? Who's on first?
Can you put it here? It's going to be hot.
Oh my God.
I have
Can we get these cards out of here?
I have sensitive hands.
Next up, watch an old married couple talk about fad previews. Funny.
Live at 8.
Oh man, it's so
Anyways,
funny.
I'm just being honest. Like I said, I'm sharing more than I've ever shared, including my hand sensitivities.
Yeah, we're glad for it, honestly. I think it brings it home. We've seen so far with the previews. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I thought... Now, some of these will be blurry.
Because we're getting them from the internet.
Just because like some of them were not posted in high quality. So we're having to raise them up and crush them down like crazy. But I thought Everfest was maybe going to be like too weird for me. Not for me. Obviously, I'll give it a go.
The fact that there's cards for every class.
I was like, man, and are they going to be? Is it going to be goofy?
You remember when you were like, just don't go clowns?
I was
and
like,
then I pulled up an image of clowns immediately. I think it's called bingo, by the way.
Playing weird cards, and it's going to be like, oh, it's kind of lost its high fantasy, kind of like epicness, and it's kind of like it's just like a carnival. Not really my thing. But all the cards that I've seen, even bingo, in terms of like what effects they're bringing to the game and even staying within the flavor and the theme of kind of keeping the universe a little more serious, I've been super impressed by. Like just the fundamental nature of what's going on and different themes that are being brought out and all the different little kind of variations and pivots they're doing on those themes. Been really happy. Skull Crusher's a great example.
I'm excited for you to be pointing out examples of where that is true, because I think it's most cards I've seen.
Start with one.
Skull Crusher's Brute Equipment Arms, Majestic, blocks for 1. What was the previous art piece? Gambling Gloves? That's what they would play?
It was generic, but that's what all the brutes would play. Yeah.
Whenever you roll a 5 or a 6 on a die, your brute attacks gain +1 this turn. Universal.
Yeah, all of them.
So if you're going wide with the axes, meat axe? What are the axes?
Zach is clearly a brute player.
The claws.
Going wide with the meat axe.
The claw.
Yeah, the claws. Yeah.
The claws. If you're going wide, then you get +1 everything.
That's right.
Notable. Now, it also says
it can happen multiple times.
Most importantly, your brute attacks get +1, including the ones you randomly discard.
Including your weapons, which are usually brute attacks as well.
Very nice. So, but like all the cards you discard, you need to hit 6. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was a 4 or a 5. Mm-hmm. Anyways, whenever you roll a 1 on a die, though, you destroy these. Mm-hmm. Battle worn.
That's true. What you just said is like something I hadn't even considered. Mm-hmm. So even the things that when they're leaving your hand as a discarded card still have the +1?
Yeah, because
you're dangerous with rules like that. Are you sure that's
I figured this out because I was literally playing in the Dallas Pro Quest against Tyler, who won Vegas. Mm-hmm. He's playing Prism, and I'm playing Briar. I hadn't even played that match. Yeah. And I was just like, this is usually really hard to Viscera, so this probably isn't going to go well. And then we get to the end of the game. I play Mount Heroic late, right? And I'm like, play it. I've got this Bugatti turn set up. And then he just unleashes on his turn. And I have no 6s in hand.
Heralds.
Right?
Yeah, sends the heralds your way.
So we get, I was like, all right. And he wins the game. And we're scooping up and talking. One of his friends walks up and he goes, I don't know if you know this or not, but all your attacks get +3 when you're blocking too.
Mount Heroic, yeah.
I could have stopped. I mean, I had 4, 0 cost, go again, ready to go attacks. They were all like 7s.
Well, there you go.
Anyways,
goes to show you.
I assume my Mount Heroic experience would apply here.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know the actual rules and how that works. It's just in my brain how that would function.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on. That actually is an exciting part of the card.
Yeah, but the issue, of course, is that other little sentence.
They just love it, don't they?
Well, it's
they just love it.
You know the game theory 4 corners. They did the whole prison test, and it's like if you tell on me. Yeah. I tell on you, but if neither of us admit to the crime, we're both good. But
who eats the marshmallow?
That whole thing.
Yeah.
So the problem with this is when it's bad, right? Usually you're going to be rolling die because you got the boots on, whatever those are, the scab skins. Yeah. And so if you hit 1, you get 0 actions, and also you destroy this thing.
Yeah, you lose harder.
But to leverage the fact that things are going to obviously go well for you as a brute player, and I actually appreciate in going to all the events last year. In terms of the persona that is brute players, I think this is perfect for them. I'm curious what brute players are saying, but like they need when they're going hard in the paint for it to go harder in the paint. You know what I mean?
No.
Like actually,
that's not what they need.
I'm saying not you. For you to keep playing brute, yes.
But no, that's not what any brute players need.
The brute players that I know are wild.
Yeah, you can be wild, but also you can be wild in a way that whenever you catch a strong breeze, all the eggs in your basket don't explode.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like
seriously, okay.
Turn where you roll a 1 and Skull Crushers is destroyed and you take 0 actions is a turn that you have just lost a game of Flesh and Blood.
Hear me out though.
Okay.
Remember, let's go back to Valiant Dynamo.
All right.
And just remember, my math game, my spreadsheet game is strong. Okay. So it blocks for 1. If we're comparing it to Gambler's Gloves, you immediately get 1 health. Mm-hmm. The role that Gambler's Gloves filled was that in the event that you roll bad at the wrong time, you get another shot.
You roll bad at all. If you ever roll a 1 in Flesh and Blood in a competitive game, you lose that game.
Maybe.
You lose it.
Historically, yes.
It's gone.
Previously.
You have lost it.
But follow me.
So the whole thing is roll scabs until Gambler's Gloves are gone and then never roll them again. You
Sure.
can't take the risk. 1 in 36 is acceptable. 1 in 6 is unacceptable.
I think we have discovered that you are not a brute player.
I'm just talking about reality. We can talk about dreams and ideas. You can roll 5 6s in a row. The minute you hit that one, it's over.
I would be curious to hear from brute players out there because I also see I've tested
Excuse me.
as brute actually in the past couple of months for the first time, and especially with the claws, which I know you're not prone to run.
Yeah, I know. There's just no romance to them, but
Well, a lot of times what I would see is like they would do the first thing they're going to do, and then they take the chance.
maybe they get 2 claws.
And so then it's like it's getting the extra action at that point. It doesn't cost you as much. Anyways, the reason I say this
Gotta
though,
go again attacking it, of course.
versus the gloves, you can definitely block for 1 before you even roll the boots.
Yeah.
So you get 1 value out of it, period.
Good.
I've seen a lot of brute games where they never even use the gloves.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're getting the health out of that. And then it's like if technically you're playing a game where you really most of the time aren't using the gloves anyway, you actually get a weird upside on the flip of this.
The upside's sick.
Yeah.
It's big.
This is right in a good pocket though for me.
You could honestly, ideating about this earlier, which is just a stupid word, but had ideas about Crazy Brew, right? You seen Crazy Brew?
If you hit whatever you hit, you get
roll
all the
it,
stuff. Yeah.
right? 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. So, you know, we've got all sorts of crazy item stuff going on Everfest. Let's say I get 3 Crazy Brews out, and then I happen to hit 3 5s and 3 6s, and I've got 6 free resources, 3 free actions, and all my attacks are at +3. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So, you know, what I'm going to be looking for in the rest of this set, things that would make me so excited about this, which it's like perfect because you love it. You want to love it as a brute player. You're like, yes, look at how awesome. And then you're going to put it on the table, and then you're going to roll a 1 on the second turn, and you're going to be like, never again. So what I think I need to see is more cards that roll dice that don't have terrible downsides.
Sure.
So that we can roll them more often and mitigate a lot of the big moment randomness.
Yeah, which I think is fine.
Second, I think I would love to see a blue potion type item, or even yellow potion, or even a red potion type item, or equipment or something that you place on the board, and then whenever you roll a 1, you can crack it to turn it into a 2.
Immediately.
No
chance for this to pop.
No, whatever you got to do with the rules to make that happen. I don't need to re-roll the die with Gambler's Gloves. Don't give me that. I'm just looking at like a loaded dice is what it's called. You put it on the board. You can get 3 of them out. There's an item.
Which we have the carnival theme, so who knows?
It's right there. I mean the loaded dice is a carnival theme is there.
But I think you're right in that if the 1 is less turn ending for you, if we're just thinking about scab skins paired with this, it can get really bad. But if you have other ways to roll to kind of get this benefit, and you definitely get 1 block out of it first, like the potential of the upside of this is actually crazy.
Oh, it can go big.
Even if you're just finding ways to roll the die, and like let's say 3 turns you get +1 on all your attacks, and you're using the double weapons, it's like suddenly this is worth 6 or 7 damage and a block.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Remember, we were freaking out when Valiant Dynamo might be worth 8 or 9.
I know. I know.
So the biggest thing to me is if it were in place of another really critical slot, like something that you were actually relying on.
Dude, I would say Gambler's is a really critical slot.
I think it's medium. I also.
How much Brute have you played in your life?
I've played against it a fair amount.
Oh, well. Case closed.
Just saying. I'm curious. What's chat saying? I need to know what the brute players are saying out there.
Okay, let me read. Steven is completely right, and Zach needs to play more brute to understand.
Who said that?
In fact, everybody's saying. I can't even read. All these users are coming.
Pin this. If you're watching this later, like much later, and this is a card that gets used a lot, and people love it.
It's a good card. People will use this card. It'd be great. But here's the problem with Brute. Here's the design challenge of Brute. Enough of these kinds of effects, and the entire game comes down to did they roll the dice well or not. Period. There's nothing past that. So you have to inject 5 to 10% of your win percentage in what the dice do, and 90% in what the player does. And the more effects that are hot and cold in an extreme way like this, the more it's going to be totally swingy Brute games. And I don't think anybody wants that. So give me the effect, yes, but on a 1, I lose a life. On a 1, I lose 2 life. Whatever it is,
that's a really powerful effect.
Don't destroy it. I mean, I'm already punished on 1 so much. Scabs on 1? You kidding me?
Well,
gain 1 action, but lose 3 life.
That's under the assumption 2 things: that scabs is why we're rolling.
Yep.
And part 2 as well.
You're going to be rolling scabs.
I think one of the things I would like to see them get is effectively a way to use things like scabs, or in general this, with less of a insane downside. And the best example of this I think about is that I haven't seen these cards yet, but I think about Briar and the fact that she, or Runeblade, where they get that extra action. And so if Brute gets a way to have 2 actions, and they can use it to really go crazy, and it's not, if you roll a 1, you still have your 1 action floating, right? Yeah. Which I've seen, even if you have a go again attacks. It's like they swing for 6, have go again, you have an action floating. It's like, well, technically, if I could roll this,
trying to double
the
up
thing, I could like really get going. Anyways,
unfortunately, at least for Levia, that is not really a viable option.
I'm not saying that.
But if we did have enough like kind of weaker, decent go again to start cards, like all of the go again Brute cards right now
are pumps.
Well, that, and they're all 3-card hands to start out of the gate. You gotta pitch, you gotta play the card, you gotta discard a card. So if we get more of the, and actually there's one in here.
Yeah,
in the
well,
set.
And didn't we see the, there's another card I feel like I've seen a spoiler for that you really like for Ranger, which lets you opt and look, and if you've done damage. So let's get to that in a second.
Love that card. Okay,
all right, let's get to High Roller. 0 cost Brute action, 3 block. It's rare. It's got Intimidate, so immediately just Intimidate. And then it says, if you've rolled a 4, 5, or 6 on a die this turn, instead Intimidate twice. 0 cost go again. So this is just a free Intimidate.
We've got to be getting more ways to roll the dice.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't be loading my entire universe onto a scabs roll.
Yeah, upside blocks for 3. And I'm
That's
curious,
a huge upside.
It's rare, so I assume we'll have 3 colors of it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess the blue is on just a 6.
That's a good guess. Yeah.
Yellow would be 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
So that's a really, even as a blue card, that's a really interesting, blocks for 3, pitches for 3. And then if you've hit a 6, it's a playable card as well.
It's an exceedingly good card for Brute, for the pool. Because like what I was finding, and I haven't played Rhino in a hot minute because everyone got really, really into axes or claws there for a while. But a lot of times what you're balancing is this idea that when you're approaching deck building, every card that isn't an attack that's discarding something needs to be able to pitch out of your hand before you launch the attack, because you don't want to hit a non-6 out of your hand.
So it's a 0 cost to go again.
So it's like Barraging Beatdown's the same way. You load up on Barraging Beatdown and it's like, I just need to dump my hand so that the only thing left is an attack for me to discard out of it. Yeah. This is a card that's going to fill that.
Yeah, and fill that same kind of perfectly too, because like if you need the resources, great. If you just Intimidate 1 is nice enough.
Yeah.
Like in the slot of I just need to empty my hand and get this going, and it blocks for 3. So it's perfectly usable, and it pitches like the blue would pitch for 3 for like Arcane Barrier. So it's literally perfectly get out of my handable at all points in the process.
That's where like you're probably at 9 Barraging Beatdown and then 3 to 6 High Roller, and you kind of have a play pattern that's established at that point. Yeah, you know, like Intimidate 1 or 2 out of my hand, launch an attack that also intimidates a card. You have 1 left to block with. I think you could see a grindier, kind of almost a Bolton-esque Brute come out of this.
Out of Rhinar, if you play an attack that intimidates from itself and intimidates from his ability, you've now intimidated 3 times, and you're at a pretty sweet spot.
You're getting the potential. Brute's also a terrifying class to try to balance. Because if you get to a point where they're just intimidating every turn, you can never block, then you also hate that. Yeah. So it's like, there's a lot to balance.
Which,
be careful.
You know, it's the classic Bravo dominate situation too, where they don't block, but also now they have a full hand, which they could always do, right? That we get back to your classic Steven
They
equation.
could always have just not done it. Yeah. Can you go back to that? I want to see the wording. Silhouette brings up a good point. Let's make sure we're reading this right. Can you read that again?
If you have rolled a 4, 5, or 6 on a die this turn, instead Intimidate twice.
Okay. So you would normally Intimidate once. If you've rolled that amount, then instead you Intimidate twice. So it's not instead of what the 4, 5, or 6 did. It's instead of the original Intimidate.
Yeah, because the 4, 5, or 6 would have happened at any point prior. Now, one thing I don't like about that design, and it's not that crazy to track, but if we are rolling more and more dice, tracking what I have rolled this turn, suddenly becoming something I actually have to track. This game has very little of that right now.
True.
So watch out. If you're out there, designers.
I think anytime Brute's rolling a 5 or 6 in particular, you remember.
Well, yeah, because they stood up and did a little dance.
I might win.
And like angels started singing.
On that point, so Tom Rose with a good suggestion. Thinking of these Brute effects as like catch-up mechanics, we had this conversation many times in the early days of building Brute. Like, don't roll it until you're losing, and then it's like, I'm losing anyway, I may as well take the risk.
Sure.
I think the problem that we ran into when we were looking at the card pool for Brute, and especially as it came into Levia, it's so exceedingly clear that the play patterns and the cost curves of those cards are balanced around 1.5 to 1.75 actions every turn. So if you're not rolling and making up for essentially the lower value on your cards with no hit effects, you're always going to be losing. So it's like you realize that if I wait until I'm losing to start rolling, I could lose even harder. If I don't wait, I could maybe actually win. So it's kind of like, it's almost like scabs are balancing the class a little up to where they need to be to use their cards most effectively.
Yeah. Like you almost have to be taking the bets the whole time.
Yeah.
To be on par or sometimes a little ahead of everyone else.
Because the other problem is you plan your blocks based on your next turn, not knowing how many actions you're going to have.
Yeah.
So you don't block. You have your Bugatti hand. You roll a 2 on the die, and it's like I took a lot of damage and can't do more back.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to consider.
That is challenging. Let's look at this next card. I love this card.
I'm a huge fan of this card.
Called Wild Ride. Cost 2. I can't see the bottom stats. Somehow.
It doesn't have any defense. None.
No defense. That's called. We're finding out what Brute does a lot.
I mean, you're
so
it's like Katy Perry.
It does attack for 6, which is great. 2 for 6.
I would have liked to see it on 7.
It's got 2 stacks. I mean, you got those new.
Give me that yellow
gloves,
6,
right?
though.
I mean, that's what they're for. When you attack with Wild Ride, draw a card, then discard a random card. So you pitch a blue, you have 1 floating. Let's just say that's what's happening. You play this card. That's 2 cards. You draw 1. Then you discard a random card.
Yeah.
If a card with 6 or more is discarded, it gains go again.
It's a great Levia card.
This is really great.
It's a great Levia card because, and I will die on this hill.
I know we are about to be back in Azalea Leviathan, like in testing on the stream, and I'm actually really excited. I hope that both of them become legitimate heroes, like very legitimate.
I do too.
So months. Yeah.
So this is a Levia card. To me, it is. I'll justify that. I'm saying it so you can assume it's from me. The reality is that Levia has the most amount of access to 6 attack cards because she has all the Brute cards and then all of the Shadow and Shadow Brute cards. So I think Levia can build a reasonable deck that is going to hit a 6 off of a random draw 90% of the time, maybe 95% of the time. And I think in the grand scheme of things, a grindy meat axe always hitting for 5 deck that has cards like Wild Ride that you can actually play out of a 2-card hand. Yeah. Exceedingly good.
Wild Ride, do your thing.
If you're hitting a go again, like what we currently don't have, and this is why the cost structure is so weird on this, is that if you could immediately pivot into a weapon swing after hitting this off of a single pitch blue, I would be so wildly excited about it. Because it would pump all the weapons. Like all of them, say if you've discarded 6 or more, they get better. So if Wild Ride off of a 2-card hand is also hitting into a weapon swing, you're looking at like a 12 damage turn.
Which the only way to do that would really be like to have a tunic, right?
Because you can do it with a tunic right now. Yeah, and there's some original Reiner builds we're running.
Dude, none of the Brute weapons cost 1 to swing?
No. No, everything's 2. It's all built around this. But you have things like Wild Ride into a Boneyard Marauder off of a blue. So you start to look at how you compare 2s and 1s.
Super good.
And because there's no card cost coming out of your actual hand on this, it's way, way good for me. No block value, whatever. I'm over it. I'm not even going to mention it. Let's just not block. Whatever. Yeah. Fine, you win.
There is an element of Brute that if you're leaning the aggro build, right? Which I think a lot of their stuff wants you to do. You're just slamming the whole time. And
it's either that or they want you to... Because they're also a very defensive class, except for obviously the no defense.
Well, I think there's ways to build it, right? Which is cool.
Because you kind of feel like they should be building up, and like some people say in the chat, build up some energy potions. And a lot of us watched that very early game with Jason, where he was stacking like 3 barraging beatdowns, and then he ended the game with all of that. So it's kind of like you also could just slow play it, swing the weapon like Bravo does. And then build up to Big Blood Rush Bellow turn with a bunch of things, and Wild Ride being like the most playable go again attack I think that we currently have. All the other ones discard out of hand, or Dread Screamer.
Yeah, like the least card intensive. Go again.
Yeah, Dread Screamer is so great because it also doesn't require an extra card in your hand. Yeah, 2 costs go.
And now you get another option here.
Yeah, right? So I have high hopes for Levia with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do that grindy meat-axe deck.
And it's the...
So what do we call it? Grindy meat-axe.
The other thing that is interesting about the no blocks is either it means you're going to go all aggression, or they're using this as a way to limit how many of the no blocks you can even put in your deck, right? It's like, we're not putting an actual restriction on this, but it's unlikely you're going to run more than, let's say, 9 of this kind of card, because drawing a totally no block hand could be a problem.
I mean, unless you literally just strap a cinder block to the gas pedal.
That's what I'm saying.
Just go.
But I like I said it the other day when we were talking about what is healthy, and I like the concept that I could be sitting across from a brute player, and it could be that or not.
I do too.
Like perhaps they're pitch stacking and they're blocking and they're playing smart and they're trying to build to something big, or from turn 1 they're just going to be swinging their fists as often and as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I also like the flavor text here. Everyone who knows how to have a good time is welcome in Aria.
Okay, right on. Yeah, brutes are welcome.
Yellow Wild Ride, got it?
Yeah, got yellow and blue. I don't think you would ever play anything but the red there.
I'm excited for the possibility that you might.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like when Benji came out and it was like, oh, there's suddenly a use for that blue scar for a scar.
True.
So, or Icelander with the blue ice cards, right? Where I think you could.
It's true.
You just need one brute hero at some point that doesn't rely, or all the blue strip skip +2 or something.
Yep.
And suddenly,
you could get like the brute with glasses, like
Beast.
in X-Men. Yeah.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. Okay. Although yellow to me, I associate with like the library in my head. So yellow could be the smart class. Blue would be the rich, whatever, the monocled brute. Anyways, bravo. Star of the show is the next preview. Majestic Hero, Elemental Guardian Hero, 40 health.
This was the biggest surprise of the set for me. There's rumors about we're going to get the original heroes in their proper talented space. It lends more credence to the theory that they started out here and then they stripped them back for general release at the beginning.
Absolutely.
You think that's true?
So he's Essence of Earth, Ice, and Lightning.
Yeah.
First tri-element hero.
Yeah.
He can use all the element cards we've seen.
How awesome as a deck builder is that?
I've been losing my mind for literally 24 hours straight. At the start of your turn, you may reveal an Earth, Ice, and a Lightning card from your hand. Now, interestingly, I don't know how they're going to rule this, but the way this is worded, he's the first hero to come in all 3 of the doubles.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not sure you can reveal the same double card for 2 elements. Keep that in mind.
I bet they will let that happen. I bet they'll let that happen. The pulses are built to do that.
I really hope so, but he's not fusing.
Yeah.
He's just revealing.
Yeah.
So how reveal happens?
What does it say?
At the start of your turn, you may reveal an Earth, an Ice, and a Lightning card from your hand.
So
I don't know if that moment happens one at a time.
Yeah, or that's an easy ruling, right? The revealing a card happens one at a time. I mean, can we not just say that?
I would love
reveal
it.
A pulse, reveal the same pulse.
Either way, I don't care.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because what happens if you line up the stars?
The art on this card, though.
Absolutely. Everything about this makes me so pleased. It's ludicrous and amazing. If you do, the next attack action card with a cost 3 or greater, you play this turn, so not your weapon, gets +2, dominate, and go again.
No cost to that. You just
the
gotta
cost
show the
is you got to have 3 element cards in your hand.
Wait, what are the 3 things again? Go. Do you have go again as well?
And go again.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So here's the thing.
Apparently they tweeted the pulses work.
I feel like this year, 2020, this block.
2022, 2020 to the basically whenever time stopped existing.
Monarch started a little rougher for me. My Fab experience as a Runeblade player, Chain thematically not particularly exciting for me. I like Visceray better. Shadow can't really do that. I was into Bolton, right?
Yeah,
that was fun, and it was a fun set. Aria and this set, it's just like are delivering for me personally on like an unparalleled level.
That's good.
I couldn't have.
It's good to know.
You can't write this better.
Yeah, I know. You went from 3 Runeblades in a row to a new Bravo
to this.
It's like, what are they? Are you designing their release plan?
It's insane. So all that to say, I'm totally with you. I think I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe we can ask if if we have someone like James on the podcast.
Speculate.
But I absolutely believe this is where it starts, and then it's like, okay, we're scaling back.
You think the testing and people were like, it's great after 50 games of me understanding the complexity of these talented heroes.
I wouldn't be surprised if you have a couple years of stuff designed, and then you're bringing someone new on to show the game. Maybe you need new testers or developers or whatever, and like you're seeing them struggle through the full picture of this. And it's like, and even just maybe it's even practical. You start thinking about how to release these cards, and it's like, oh, man, like if you just start with Monarch,
if you go Monarch into Arya, it's like,
who knows? Whatever it ends up looking like. I think one reason or another they decide to scale it back, and this to me gets me so excited. Obviously, as a Bravo being my first character, one of my favorites. And he's all three elements.
Look just like you too.
I don't know.
Did you know? Cousins. You know, I actually we're working right now to try to get an interview with James about Fab. He told me that the original concept art of Bravo was based on an image of you that he pulled from our YouTube channel.
This can't be true.
Yeah, he said it directly to you, right to me.
The reason this is not true is because Bravo came out back before I even had my long hair again. So it's unlikely this is true.
I showed him like a high school picture.
Yeah, there it is.
I was like, imagine this, but like, you know,
buff and charming. Yeah. So the thing that gets me so excited about this, though, it's multi-layered. Of course, I'm excited as a Bravo/Guardian player. I think every Bravo player is going to be excited about this.
Yeah.
Next layer is that exact point.
We just got updated.
Oh, we got new spoilers.
Yeah, so we got new spoilers in.
So imagining every hero we've gotten so far having a talented version.
I think it's undoubtedly the case.
Yeah, and so even if it wasn't, this is where it started and they scaled back every hero. Picturing, as an example, getting a light Dorinthia or a shadow Dorinthia or whatever it is.
It's got to be different than Bolton, right? You'd have to think she's, I don't know. I can't even speculate. I don't know.
I mean, it depends on
where they're going.
Where the story's going. But picturing all those fundamental heroes getting talent and getting a different ability, and then thinking through. I know there was concerns when like Arcanite Shard came out because like, well, it's Viscera, so if he Living Legends out, like what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen.
We've yet to see the actual Viscera.
We're going to get the actual Viscera, and what we have right now is but a shadow of Viscera and it's full.
And still, the shadow is still usable because original existing Bravo is still usable and different from Star of the Show.
I think absolutely, because I look at this ability and your first 3 cost. One, are you even going to actually try to go for this ability?
Yeah.
On a consistent basis.
Yeah.
3 different types in the hand. Even 2 with the double fusion cards is
that's you're trying
is some work.
Yeah.
So 3, but then when you do that go again sticks out to me because there's a lot of times in Bravo where go again is meaningless.
Yeah.
Like extra action points are meaningless because if you're playing a 3 cost or more, you have to have the attack. You have to pitch for it. And it's like, well, unless you're playing the 3 cost attacks. And, you know, the best ones are the 4, 5, 6, 7 cost attacks.
You playing this Autumn's Touch, though.
Yeah, so it's like Crippling Crush with Go Again is cool. But, like, that said...
You playing that Frost Fang? Ugh.
I'll tell you what you're playing.
It's going to be disgusting.
Is the Frost Hammer.
This is basically like the Shiana of Bravos. I mean, you can run the hammer. You can play anything you want.
Dude, you can run the Frost Hammer. You can run Lake Frigid. You can run the Crown of Seeds. You can run you get the Rampart with the Frost Hammer right out of this. So the thing I really like about this, not related to scaling back every hero we've ever seen and then adding talents to them, is suddenly, you know, we were talking last time about the release model and Tales of Aria being 3 different classes, 3 different heroes. Of course, this was a class already in that set. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, maybe you don't dig Oldhim, so you're not that interested. But suddenly, it's like, wait a second. Now, if you like this hero, Welcome to Wraith gets more interesting. Mm-hmm. Speak of the devil. And Tales of Aria gets more interesting. And so you have this longer tail of value that is saying, hey, you might not, like even Rafe, who delivered our coffee earlier, Guardian player, didn't really, you know, looking at like playing Oldhim, getting the Ice Hammer, getting the Crown of Seeds. But you suddenly have another use for these cards.
Yeah.
And I think
that's true.
The timing of it as well, that's kind of interesting to me, because like, as an example, we know you're into Ranger. Is right now the elemental cards don't mean that much to you.
Yeah.
But the recognition at some point they might, which is cool.
You could see it.
Presents future challenges, but from like a collector price standpoint too, it's nice because it extends the demand for this thing over time. And so you can get it earlier in the process, probably more reasonably, but as time goes on, stuff stops getting printed.
I mean, yeah,
more heroes need this.
That's what we would like for James to hopefully kind of outline or clarify is like, so 2 years from now, you're wanting to play Bravo Star of the Show because you're really into it.
How many sets do you need?
How many, you know, Welcome to Wraith cards are you buying off me at $1,000 because it's like, I was there when it started. You know what I mean? But that's kind of also cool.
Well, the non-rotation long-term value of these cards is, as a collectible game, I think healthy. Like, you don't want to go crazy necessarily. The alt art Lake Frigid, it's fine if that's worth $1 billion.
Sure, yeah.
But the Lake Frigid regular, you want that to be available and still worth money in 10 years.
Yeah,
like there's a fine balance there.
It's a million different needles being threaded.
And as we've seen with something like the Skullcap, there are reprints. But yeah. I'm curious about Unlimited. I'm curious about highlight sets. I'm curious about even pre-con constructed decks down the line. Like you could do a new Bravo and it's got some of the fundamental different art or whatever kind of reprint cards in it.
You kind of feel like the Blitz push is very similar to the scaling back of these talented heroes when the game launched. It's like in a set from now or 2 sets from now or 3 sets from now, will we get kind of talented versions of most of the heroes we already have, and then CC pre-constructed decks and kind of like we've onboarded the world into this game.
I also wonder with those young heroes, which we're getting more of, we'll see those in a second, if them becoming adults is also going to be symbols of time passing in the lore. So, I picture something like you start having heroes over time naturally living legend out. And we might get another version at some point of like an older version of the same character. Like once the Bravos have rotated out at this stage, maybe we get the 55-year-old Bravo.
What if that's just old him? What if 6,000-year-old Bravo is old him?
Yeah, or they turn into mentors, right? Or they turn into some other kind of the ally kind of slot. And then you have characters like Kasei. I'm just going to say Kasei from now on.
Sure.
Later, it might be 8 years. And then she's actually turning into an adult hero, right? Or is it, I'm curious when that first happens.
Yeah.
Like, is it within a year or two? Or are we talking like, are you actually thinking about 15 years from now kind of a situation?
This is great to include in the set. I think a lot of people were reignited.
Yeah. Because
about the future.
We saw Icelander. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, okay, supplemental sets just have young heroes.
Yeah, young heroes.
So then the next layer of all this is beyond all of everything we just talked about, you can just randomly include new adult heroes in a set.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Thank goodness. I mean, yeah, we need to keep that lever open.
That's game changing.
Well, what's next?
I thought that was it. Just kidding. Valda Brightaxe.
We've seen Valda. There's been plenty of talk about Valda.
One of the first cards that came around.
It's again, a young hero.
She was majestic. People were concerned, right? We were talking about majestic heroes. Bravo feels way better as a majestic to me. But that's because I'm really into classic.
Valda would be fun to play. It's a good theme. What I need to see right now is I need to see examples of young heroes turning into old heroes.
Yes, because that would set the... If I could see a hero that I am going to get to play again...
I would actually test them and be interested.
I'm curious, though. Do the adults show up just as double health, or do they show up as talented versions?
They got to show up as talented. for sure.
Yeah.
Like an adult Benji or an adult Cassie or...
Yeah, with her Volcor talent or whatever it is.
Show me that you're going to do that in your game.
Which might just mean that we actually start getting those adult versions of heroes when we get to that location and talent.
Yeah.
Right, Volcor, Mysteria, etc. All right, let's look at this one. I haven't seen it yet. Pulverize.
Yeah, people were losing their minds. So what does Pulverize do? First of all, what's the armor?
That's like a angel warrior.
It's that one guardian that everybody's just waiting on.
Like on Mangle?
Yeah.
It's be
like the Diablo
gross.
3 final boss guardian.
It's going to be so gross. Okay, cost 10. It's red, it's majestic, probably only copy.
Wait a minute. 3. If I pitch 3 blues, that's only 9. So I have to have a surge token out.
Or this in Arsenal.
Is it a guardian attack?
Yeah.
Okay. So far, so good.
Deals 14.
That's fine.
Heave, new keyword, 3.
Heave?
Heave-ho, heave. At the beginning of your end phase, if Pulverize is in your hand and you have an empty arsenal zone, you may pay 3 resources and put Pulverize face up into your arsenal. If you do, create 3 seismic surge tokens. Now, before we get to the rest of this ability, rewind it back. Valda Brightaxe, whenever an opponent draws a card from it during an action phase, create a seismic surge token for each card drawn this way during their action phase.
So she can dunk.
At the start of your turn, if you control 3 or more cards you own with Crush, gain Dominate. So this card, Pulverize.
It has Crush? It doesn't have Crush, does it?
No, it doesn't have Crush.
Yeah, it doesn't have Crush.
But it is a way to create the 3 seismic surge tokens.
And she presumably is going to be, in a perfect world, Valda's generating a lot of seismic surge tokens, so she wants to be able to cash them in for big stuff like this. Yeah. That's definitely what it feels like.
But having anything that creates multiple seismic surge tokens makes me immediately think of her.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to...
Correct.
Thought I was dying.
Wonder why that fell.
good question.
I'm telling you, man, I really think there's a ghost in here.
Ghost in the machine.
Yeah. I've been honestly not wanting to say it out loud. I really think there's like an apparition.
Haunted.
Yeah.
It's seemingly a friendly ghost.
I'm ready to get into the new store.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Last part of the ability, when Pulverize hits a hero, their first attack during the next turn has -4 attack.
I mean, 18 in value off of a single attack is pretty high.
Let me point you to Exhibit B.
I wasn't even on A yet.
The card that I immediately think of for this is Awakening.
Okay, what is it?
Which I can now play out of Bravo. It's a Guardian instant. Costs 2, I think. And essentially, if you have less health than your opponent, you create the difference in seismic surge tokens.
That's never happened in a Guardian game that I've played.
Well, because the only Guardian that can play it right now is Oldhim, and he doesn't attack.
Yeah.
He just sits there like a rock. So you create surge tokens for the difference. I'm down by 10. I create 10 surge tokens. You with me?
Uh-huh.
If I fuse it with Earth...
You just immediately create 10. That's all the card does?
If I'm down by 10, I pay as an instant. I create 10.
That's what it says?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Hold on a second. Are you serious? You just pay 2 to get -10 on your next attack?
It gets worse. It gets worse.
Wait.
You want to read it to us?
No, I can't read it at all. But the glyphs appear to be reinforcing what you're saying.
Look, I'll just pull it up on my screen so I can read it.
There's no way it says.
All right, let me read it verbatim.
Okay.
2 cost blue, elemental guardian instant, no block, earth fusion. If you have less life than your opposing hero, create seismic surge tokens equal to the difference. If Awakening was fused, instead create twice that many seismic surge tokens.
So it does do that.
So if it was,
I guess you were right.
6 difference and I fuse it, it's 12 surge tokens,
Okay.
etc.
But what would you possibly do with that many surge?
And then it says search your deck for a guardian attack action
Oh,
card
come on.
with a cost less than the number of seismic surge tokens you control. Reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. So clearly, with Awakening, right? I get down by 8. I pitch to play Awakening, fuse it with an Earth card, and I create, tons. 16.
Why are we making it so easy for Guardians, huh? You're basically searching your deck all the time. You get whatever you want, and you get all the money. What is it, money and cards? What else do you want? Health?
They swing big.
You get it all.
This is what they do. So the interesting thing to me, though, and this is what I wanted to point out with this card. I haven't seen it till now. Is to play Awakening, you have to be playing the elemental version of Bravo or Oldhim at this point. But this kind of card screams OG Bravo to me. Because,
you can give it Dominate?
You can actually just forcibly give it Dominate. Yeah, it's coming in for 14, and their first attack's -4. But if you don't have Dominate, really that ends up reading just pile in the blocks.
Fit your hand.
And so, to play a 10-cost card is a lot. You have to really set that up. Obviously, you can create 3 surge tokens, now it only costs 7.
And you got Showtime?
Yeah.
You can go get it. You can go get it a lot of ways. Awakening. And
14 damage is 14 damage.
Yeah, I think dominating this damage is going to be really important. Otherwise, it probably is just do 2 damage past your turn.
Yeah.
And then you try again on a 4 card.
Or that -4 too is questionable against a lot of classes like Ninja. It's well, the first thing's a 1 at Kadachi. It's okay, -4. We're at 0 still. Next Kadachi coming at you. So this is, to me, right in line with what I would expect out of Guardian. They have fun ways to do big stuff. And this fits right in. Huge cost, though.
And heave is the thing that's putting it, if at the end of your turn, or a turn.
The end of my turn.
Okay.
The beginning of your end phase.
You've got it in your hand, and you've got a blue.
I put it face up into Arsenal and pay 3.
Boom.
So 2 cards left, a blue and this. Now, my favorite use of this.
So now, so normally we could just pass and go, and it goes face down.
Yeah.
So what is our advantage of putting it face up?
Face up means that you can pay 3, create 3 surge tokens. So you're paying 3 this turn to get a discount next turn, basically.
Do you have to pay 3 to put it face up and create tokens, or do you put it face up and optionally
you
pay 3?
You may pay 3 and put it face up into your arsenal. If you do, create 3 surge.
Okay.
My favorite use of this, actually, is doing that, and then either on your turn or your opponent's, using the Crown of Seeds, put this on the bottom of your deck, get a card back in the hand, and have -3 on anything else.
Interesting, yeah.
Because then, Spinal Crush, as an example, becomes a 3 cost or 4 cost.
So it's the old bamboozle.
Or not Spinal Crush. Crippling Crush.
What's the effect? Yeah.
So okay, that is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, or you can just pay 7 for this, and that's fine too. And maybe you create a surge on your turn, so it only costs 6. That's really reasonable to 2 blues to play this out of your arsenal.
Guardian's getting more interesting.
Yeah, but when you're on the Crown of Seeds, it's like you see it sitting there. I've got the 3 tokens, or maybe 4, and you're like, oh no, I can't let you do that. Command and Conquer. It's like pay 1. It goes under my deck. I'll take 6. Here comes the beatdown. Yeah.
Okay, I like this. I like anything that encourages people to attack.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and the art's really cool. Then we get.
Don't you love the art on this card?
I
Macho, grande. I mean, come on.
This is the carnival theme that I'm here for, right? It's playful, but also it's a
crown is face down only.
Can't use it.
They thought of everything.
Drat. I was
Here
so
we were
excited
on a good
about
tear.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Azalea, man.
Yeah.
Face up cards in your arsenal you thought would be good.
Macho Grande. 7 cost, blocks for 3, attacks for 10, guardian attack action, built-in dominate.
It's fine. Isn't there other tertiary benefits to face-up arsenal cards? Like cards that say if there's a face-up arsenal? Because I've looked at all of those for Azalea, and I feel like there's...
I've never seen a card that does that.
Something that... I feel like there's generics that maybe target that. Anyway. What do you think about this card, ultimately? Built-in dominate, what's it cost?
7. I mean, they're... In the world where you're getting a lot of seismic surge tokens, having an attack like this that you can play cheaply.
You're supposed to play it for free and then pummel it, right?
I think so. Or just finish a game.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine.
And it's still allowing Bravo to access dominate even if you're playing new Bravo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would bet the blue is the one you play. It comes in for 8 probably with
Must be
dominate.
a Guardian player.
It blocks for 3. Like, this is better than a lot of those blue attacks.
Yeah.
That just don't really do anything. If you're on pummel particularly, I think. And then if you mix in the surge tokens and stuff, it's pretty playable.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is a bread and butter fundamental card right there.
Yeah, it's not fancy.
No.
It's not like...
It's Macho Grande.
You know, you're not getting more crippling crush situations. Bravo is fancy, which is cool. He's a hero.
Or Pulverize is an example of pushing a whole thing, and then this is like, and also just attack people.
Even with Pulverize, though, I look at it and it's like, it's not breaking fundamental math. Like, it's a crazy card to pull off, but that's kind of the Guardian thing.
Chris saying the one thing Guardian didn't have yet for Zach, a WWE tie-in.
Well, now we do.
Now you got it.
Yeah, I mean, look at this guy.
No one makes me bleed my own blood. I think it was Ultimate Warrior. What was that quote I had the other day?
Uh-oh. What's that mean? The screen
what was
went
that?
black.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're just going to not even think about it.
This card happened this morning, and I'm really interested in it.
You got it.
Spring Tidings.
You have to ask, is this a signal that Adult Benji is coming?
Well, I mean, so it's a Benji specialization, and it maybe, but also we saw Icelander, right? We're getting young hero support. All the carnival cards we're going to see in a minute feel like those themed generic carnival type 3 of a kind stuff. Feels like it's preparing for, we've heard the rumored like PvE player, like us versus a scenario.
Oh, you think they're going
multiplayer? So I'm not convinced that it could be in the same way we got another Bravo. Like, you're building Benji cards, you're building whoever cards, and then eventually we get this hero. Could be tomorrow, could be years from now. But I also get a sense that they have a wide view of what this game is going to support, and they're giving us cards for the spectrum.
What's it called? Spring Tidings?
Spring Tidings, yeah.
So read it. I just saw the Benji specialization, but like releasing a new specialization for a young hero
who previously didn't have one. Like, Ira got a specialization in Crucible, but Benji didn't. She doesn't have any specialization.
Okay, that's
cards.
reasonable. That's reasonable. And there's and apparently the border is interesting.
Looks like a ninja to me.
Steven saying biggest oddity about Benji card is the border.
Is it the bottom of
What's
the border?
up, Olivia Carell saying, I'm so excited. This is my first release since getting into the game. Welcome to the party.
Welcome.
It's something else.
I mean, let me look at, name like a Katsu card. Whelming Gust Wave.
Whelming Gust Wave. It's the only one I know.
Great.
Block it.
Well done. That's the one you blocked.
Block that one.
Yeah. Border looks the same to me.
Look at the Benji border. Look at the hero border for Benji. Maybe that's different. It's like, did you ever do those highlights magazines? You had to see where the image,
what's different?
Where the picture was different. See, what's Benji's border up to?
But that's like Katsu's.
Is that Katsu's border? Oh, wow. You've stumbled upon it. It's the same border?
I mean, it looks similar.
What's the difference between this picture and that picture?
I'm seeing nothing.
All right, fine.
That's like Pam. They're the same picture. Is there something different? Can someone tell me?
Apparently specialization card borders. Usually the specializations have hero borders, but this one has a generic ninja border. Does it mean something? Is it a mistake in printing?
Could be both.
That's the beautiful thing about setting up like little clues is you can always just play it off.
Yeah. This is,
We accidentally printed the mech border on Dash. It's a talent.
Let's just do it. No, I doubt that's the case. Would be this could be that. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I like
What's
the art
the
on
effect
this.
on
Right. 0 cost, blocks for 3, 2 attack. She likes the
You
2
said
attacks
everything that
version.
was important already. Yeah.
When and has go again. Done. When Spring Titans hits, draw a card for each other attack action card with 2 or less base attack you control on this combat chart.
That's just incredibly good.
Yeah, and
because you can't block twos, right?
Yeah, I mean she's just like drawing 8 off of this, and then go again all of the zeros again.
We got to be careful with Benji.
You just gotta have 2 armor for this card always.
But it's like it's a weird design space, you know, where it's like you just can't block these cards. Like that could definitely be a problem.
Can't is a word that is
it's a problem.
Be
It's quite, like you have to pay 1 to block, or like these kinds of things. Maybe it makes sense, but guess we'll see. Maybe it's always young.
Forever young, eh?
Also, Shiana, of course, the one thing you actually care about.
Yeah, that's right.
With that card. Yeah, any specialization. Let's go.
Just put them in.
Somebody hold the
right.
phone on this one. The battering bolt. Let's get it going.
I'm just gonna walk away for a minute and let you. I'm just kidding.
Well, blocks for 3.
2 costs, blocks for 3, 6 damage arrow.
Yeah.
When battering bolt hits a hero, they reveal their hand and discard all cards other than action cards. They lose a life for each card discarded this way.
That's right.
Action cards include non-attack actions and attack actions.
Yeah, but it says action on it.
At first, I thought attacks weren't action cards in my brain when I read this, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's almost good. It's almost
They have to discard all their
good.
attacks, so they're going to have to block with their attacks, but then they don't have attacks to play on their turn.
Also, you have Dominate in both of the Ranger builds. So, hey, a Dominate that if it hits, they have to discard all the actions from their hand. That sounded really incredible.
So realistically, we're talking about defense reactions?
We're talking about defense reactions and attack reactions and instants. And items.
So in certain matches, that's actually...
It's incredible. Like against Dory and
super
stuff.
good, yeah.
It's so good. Against Bolton. Like that Bolton combo deck, that heartbreaking match that I had at Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
If they're holding Lumina to action cards, it doesn't work. But if they're holding the that beacon of victory,
Yeah, there it is.
then it's like, okay, you can't just sit here and take this and win the game on the next turn and get out of your hand.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of the card. It blocks Prism, Phantasms.
I was going to say, it hits the six number.
Big deal. It fits nicely into a blue curve, which I hope Ranger can amplify into to play a normal game against Arcane damage. You have Dominate from Azalea and Shiver with the other one.
Lexi.
Yeah, and so that's obviously going to be good. You've also got, I think what you're looking at is, we were talking about this morning in the Discord, there's some kind of a thing that Ranger is building around, which is that they're saying no to defense reactions a lot. It's kind of the thing. So you have
increased attention.
You have increased attention. They can't play them from hand. Remorseless. They can't play them from Arsenal. So you're trying to find ways to stick people who are holding on to defense reactions to block your dominate attacks. And you're sticking them with situations where they can't do that. Yeah. And so if you increase the tension, battering bolt, now, I can't play these out of my hand, and maybe I discard 2 or 3 of them. That would be an ideal scenario. It's good against like Katsu turtle stuff, where they're all on 1,000 flick-flacks and whatnot. You tell them increase the tension, battering bolt. It's really, really strong. I think against like Dash and stuff, they might hold on to items. I think if we see a lot more items and builds around those from Everfest, that also gets really good.
And items aren't actions?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'd have to look at the card type. I thought items were a separate type. They can take an action to play, but
Plasma.
see if they were. Look at Energy Potion. They may be actions, actually. Is it action item?
Yeah, it's an
action. So it's attack reactions and defense reactions?
Instance?
Instance.
If they had instant, most instants they would just play.
Right.
Course. But you are getting those out of their hand. So...
Not terrible. So you can kind of Kano up a little bit.
I think the biggest reality is it's going to draw out the defense reactions. Especially if you're like Lexi has a way to give arrows go again immediately, right? So you send this thing first, they can't have reactions later in the turn, and she has
Sure.
like 3 of the kind turn stuff going on where she
That's
actually
true.
can go wide. Or you increase the tension, they can't block with them, and you get rid of them anyway.
It's like a bigger
Yeah, and
arrow.
that's pretty annoying because you can't defense react into it, and also you aren't even going to get the cards to pitch kind of a situation.
You see some kind of cool play lines with like seek and destroy and battering bolt, increase the tension, where it's just like every time they're throwing something at you that is just annoying. It's just like, if I don't block it and I can't block it, then I lose the cards anyway, and it's so bad.
Yeah, and 2 for 6 is fine in that.
It's an area I look at and I say like, okay, great. I wish I had this when I was in the deck building throws.
I particularly think in that sideboard slot that it can go against Prism, and or if you're playing against a reaction heavy deck, that's the most potent to me.
I think the attack reactions is where it shines.
Realizing like against Dory, a lot of those like it's really annoying.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good against that. And anyone who does those attack reaction, we'll probably see more instants throughout the course of the game too. And those will be nice as we see more like wizards and stuff that'll play off instants.
Yeah.
So I like it. I think it's a great card.
And just getting more ranger cards is anything when you're in the desert. Any water helps. You know,
Doesn't hurt. I mean, that's a strong card. You can also pummel it if you get into that. It's 2 costs.
And pummel is one of those. If it's sitting in your hand, I'm going to nuke the pummel. So that's
true. Yeah.
That
And they do lose life, and you get to see their hand.
yeah, perfect hand knowledge.
You know, so that actually helps a lot.
There's an underpinned value to that, especially in second. We'll see. They're cards that care about what knowing what's in the hand. We also get Icelander, of course, the young elemental wizard hero, Essence of Ice. Man, look at this playmat. Look at this card. Beautiful. I so desperately wish this was an adult hero. Really, really though. I need to know how
Zach.
soon it's going to take us to.
I know.
And I know you, Ice and Wizard. It's like that. That would be interesting, probably.
I just want I want to play it.
But here we are
in the big leagues.
So not much. That's been around for a minute, so I'm just gonna carry on.
Yeah. Do we know that it's called Icelander?
That's how I say.
We don't know anything.
What is
do we?
this thing?
What is this?
A wizard weapon, 2-handed. It's called the Kraken's Aether Vane. I have not seen this. Once per turn, instant.
It's got a Kraken on it?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That's what I'm saying. Look at see the background back there.
I love the sea.
Once per turn, instant. Deal 1 arcane damage to target opposing hero. Draw a card for each arcane damage dealt this way.
Wait a minute.
So it only does 1, but you have ways of boosting the next time you would do arcane damage. Right? The whole class is full of that kind of stuff. Whether even the
I have to play this.
Majestic is going to look great cold foil. You know that. Someday we'll get an adult ice wizard.
It's just wizard weapon, so Kano can play it? Not that you would.
It's not elemental. I mean, he might play it. So it's 1 arcane, and then if you like, you have the stuff that's like the next time you do arcane, do 3 extra instead.
Yeah, but even just like deal 1 arcane, draw a card. It's like, how annoying is it that you have to dump a card for 1 arcane damage?
Well, and it's once per turn instant, so your opponent empties out their hand playing it. They don't have any resources left. Pitch a blue.
This is awesome.
Do an arcane, replace the card.
This might get me to play wizard. Not if it's Kano, though. What if they just surprise us and they drop all the adult versions of these young heroes as well?
That'd be pretty baller. One speculative point. The promo, we've only seen the promo Icelander.
Yeah.
Is that on the backside is going to be the adult version.
On the token itself.
On the card, yeah.
They seem to like to throw curveballs.
Can you
like
imagine?
that. I'd be so in. I'd be in because you let me use a sea staff like that. I mean, okay.
Look at that thing, Kraken's Aether Vane.
I'm actually extremely excited about this. Now. It's funny. It only takes 1 card. It takes that one moment.
And that's to me one of the highest value points in the entire model of Fab is that a weapon or a hero can completely change everything.
Not a single wizard card buffs this also.
But we've seen wizard cards that do that effect to other wizard cards.
So it's presumable that you would see things that could buff this eventually.
Given the way this is written, it makes me think that would be the case.
But honestly, just pitch a blue for 1 arcane damage and a conditional card draw is incredibly good.
Yeah.
I would run that weapon and then all just normal attacks. Just play a normal game, and then also I get a free card and a free arcane damage every turn.
Yep. I like the idea of some wizards who are going to actually lean heavier into attack.
Yeah.
And have a little bit of arcane instant weird stuff going on.
Oh yeah, because if you're an ice wizard, then you've got the ice attacks and the generic attacks. Even those frost fangs, give me that wizard.
Even Icelander.
I guess it's her.
It's like she doesn't have the constant pay 3 Kano over and over again to instant from the top of deck. So I think she'll have to play a slightly more normal game.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know who this character is, but when we get to Illusionist, this is Fractal Replication.
Okay.
This is
you got my attention.
I think this character is the one that was on Spears of Surreality.
Yeah, that's right.
I would like to see more Illusionist characters in general. But here we go. Majestic, 0 cost, and it has an asterisk for attack and defense.
Get ready. Strap on in for this one.
When you play or defend with Fractal Replication, it gains the abilities and effects of all Illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain.
All right, hold on. Read it again.
When you play or defend with Fractal Replication,
okay,
it gains the abilities and effects of all Illusionist attacks on the combat chain. Herald of Your Edition, played, has go again, right? Play this, it gains the effects of that card because it's on the as long as the combat chain is still intact. With me?
Yes, with you currently.
Fractal Replication's attack is equal to the greatest base attack among Illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain. Fractal Replication's defense is equal to the greatest defense among Illusionist attack action cards on the attack chain.
Okay.
So for this to be worth anything,
okay,
blocking,
no, this is fine.
It's replicating something else on the chain.
This feels so Illusionist. This feels like the entire class is built around, honestly, this card.
Yep, 0 cost doesn't block if it's the only thing in your hand, right? But it might block for 3 or more, depending on what else you've got going on.
And it says gains all effects.
Abilities and effects.
And is Phantasm an ability? Or an effect?
Keyword? I assume it's an effect.
It may not be Phantasmed.
That would be interesting.
What is Phantasm? What is that considered? It's a keyword, but...
It's a keyword. What's chat saying? Chat might have us on this one.
This is exactly what I was looking for in Illusionist.
Yeah.
It should be weird.
Yeah, I think we're going to Weird Town.
Yeah.
And, we've only seen a light Illusionist, right? In Prism. So, standard Illusionist / other talents of Illusionist, right? We could Elemental Illusionist. Man. We could have...
Prism kind of missed for me on the Illusionist train. She had that, kind of godly, light stuff, like angelic. I'm not really looking for angelic. I'm looking for, very subtle and tricky. Me.
The old tricky Illusionist.
I will never forget in the Player's Handbook, 2nd edition, I think, D&D, there was an Illusionist class, and there was a character sketch of an Illusionist on that class page, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. Obsessed with it. That's when I started loving Illusionist.
Yeah. I think Illusionist has one of the tighter card pools right now because they were introduced and don't have an underlying base class set. So I'm happy to see them getting cards. I'm also hoping that we start seeing Illusionist play outside of what we just know in Prism. Right?
Worth noting too, as Chad is keen to point out, most heralds have an on hit that goes into the soul. So that would remove it from the combat chain, and you couldn't replicate it. And then secondarily, if you pop it with Phantasm, it goes away as well.
But if you cover up a hit effect that doesn't leave the chain because it didn't hit, this lets you replicate that and try to get it again.
I mean, wouldn't Spears of Surreality work with this?
I don't even know what the card
Let's
does.
look it up. Didn't you train, for 1,000 years to become some sort of,
it's battle hardened champion,
serious player?
Trademark.
And you don't even know what these. You couldn't even.
I mean, it's because no one plays it.
Yeah, I know, right? I think that's what we're trying to do.
I searched it.
Look at that top left. It's top left. It's the first result.
Yeah, it's got Phantasm and go again.
But it doesn't have it. If it hits, it goes away. So it's for these kinds of cards.
But it's also if you're not blocking something like
this
Herald of Your Edition. That's what I'm saying. She looks awesome.
Yeah.
If you're not blocking Herald of Your Edition, if you block it with an armor and a 3, it stays on the chain.
It stays on the chain. Yeah.
So then you would get the stuff. It wouldn't go in the soul and whatnot.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back here. I'm just excited to see that continued development.
Is it all Illusionist cards or all Phantasm cards? What does it say? What does it replicate? The game.
Abilities effects of all Illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain.
Illusionist attack action cards.
Yep.
I think I might have to play in this pocket. This seems really cool.
It's also cool because it could gain abilities, but it also gains the attack of the biggest attack.
Mm-hmm.
So if you play a bigger attack, right? Because Herald of Your Edition's only at 5.
Well, isn't there that big Enigma Chimera is like a 9 or something, but it doesn't do anything?
Yep.
It's like it's built for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, bring it on, man.
Very
Love
cool.
it.
We get the reprint of Arcanite Skullcap, seemingly.
I'm sad it has the same art. I think that's a mistake. Just saying it.
There are much worse mistakes to make.
Oh, yeah, of course, but
I love this card.
same.
The look of this card's awesome. Arcane Lantern. It's got that green color I really like. Arcane Barrier 1, generic equipment, offhand.
Yeah, you have that in the game.
You were talking
now
about last week.
Waste your time on the offhand instead of the equipment.
I had another thought we didn't talk about last week on the Arcane Barrier front.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond theme and all that kind of stuff is effectively including that as a stat on equipment also allows you to make strength against Arcane a class color pie thing. Because like Ranger has it on a lot of their equipment anyway.
I think all of the Arcane Rising heroes have it on their spread because it was also in the sealed draft environment.
So the recognition for me is like the Welcome to Wraith heroes as an example are just inherently a little weaker against magic.
Yeah.
They have to sub out equipment that they don't want to be subbing out to get Arcane Barrier.
That's true.
And if you're going to have all these classes and the way all this stacks up on each other, I do think having extra levers to say these 3 or 4 classes naturally are better against it.
Trying to keep it in a box.
Which I don't mind. Anyways.
You can have all sorts of unplayable Ranger equipment with Arcane Barrier now. It's incredible.
That's right. The thing I like about this, obviously, as a Guardian player, is there's one-handed hammers.
Mm-hmm.
And I run the shield against matches where they're going wide. I can run this against the magical things. And so you get this kind of offhand thing going on.
I mean, the theme is incredible.
I like this a lot. Now, what I really like is them totally understanding everything about life. I don't know if we have it or not. But apparently the cold foil version of this is full art.
Oh, of Arcane Lantern? That's
Yes.
going to look incredible.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Oh,
and
that's
it
going to
looks
look
great.
so good.
But this little section here, it just says Arcane Barrier 1, no description.
Good.
Right? And it's like tiny. So that's
what's the rating, or what's the rarity?
It's a rare.
Okay, cool.
But I really like the little collectible things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. There's going to be tons of non-foil copies of this thing. But as someone buying boxes, it's like, oh, you open that and it feels pretty cool.
Like a magical. It's play to it, man.
We also get Bingo.
I think this card's good.
Clown car coming to town.
Strictly good.
1 cost, 5 damage, generic attack action that blocks for 3. Decent stats.
We're already happy.
Majestic. Okay. I mean, this has got to be in the
better
Easter
than
egg.
all of the
It's got to be in the
Azalea
Command and
cards,
Conquer
man. For
lane.
real.
When
Really though.
but really though, when Bingo hits a hero, they reveal a random card from their hand. If an attack action card is revealed this way, Bingo gains Go Again. If a non-attack action card is revealed this way, draw a card.
I think it's excellent.
So it's going to be a different kind of card that gets different kind of matches, of course.
Yeah.
But the reality for me is Go Again, obviously fine. 1 cost, 5 damage, block 3, Go Again attack. Seems right on the curve.
Would you say that the majority of cards are attack action cards that you'll see in other people's hands? Kind of depends on the matchup.
Depends on playing. Playing as Kano, no. Playing as Viscera, 50-50.
Playing as Ninja?
Heavier.
Decent shot.
Yeah. Playing as Dory, low. But there's a lot of places where even the card draw would be great. Whether it's you have
like finish the chain with it.
Yeah. Or finish chain, get an arsenal card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you already have Go Again in some way, or if you have the ability, like I'm obviously in Runeblade Brain.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it in Azalea.
And it's I have the boots, so I can do this first. If I get Go Again, I'll keep going. If I don't, I can pay to get Go Again.
There's some good stuff here.
Even in like a Guardian, it's the create a surge, play this. If it gets Go Again, you swing a weapon. If it doesn't, you draw a card. You have better options for arsenal.
Or if it's like an instant, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have played it.
Sigillus. Well, if it's an instant, you just play. Do your thing.
And the fact that it's a 3, like
Blocks
if you
for
reveal
3?
an instant, I mean, it doesn't do anything.
Oh yeah.
The fact that it blocks for 3, man, that gets me high on this card.
But you
so
know,
like think about like Nimble Strike, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's a good comparative. It's a 1/5/2 with Go Again if you banish Nimblism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on the same spectrum, but this could be a 1/5/3 with Go Again,
Mm-hmm.
depending on if you hit, or a 1/5/3 draw a card.
And the card draw is nice because the draw also means you don't have Go Again inherently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a penalized draw, right?
Yeah.
That's a very clever design. This is a perfect example of not fancy,
I feel like swing a weapon or get an arsenal card is what you get out of this.
The fact that we're excited about a 1/5/3 that maybe has go again or maybe draws a card is amazing.
Yeah, I really like. I would have been playing this in my Azalea deck in Vegas.
Yeah,
right off the bat.
And of course the flavor text: winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
I think it's a great card.
I like this card. This is fundies right there for me.
All right, now let's get to the heat. See what I did there? Fire breathing.
What a joke.
2-cost red card. I love this art. That's going to be insane in foil. It's majestic too. It's like got that rainbow coloring on the fire. It's crazy.
Taking a moment here, I choose you with a great comment. It's funny you don't do this for MetaZoo.
Funny?
Yeah.
Why is that funny?
Why is it funny? Because MetaZoo, I won't do it.
Yeah.
Give me on fire breathing.
Fire breathing. 2-cost, 3 damage attack. Generic attack action blocks for 3. So something's got to be going on if you're paying 2 for 3. That's not good math.
I'm just happy to see 3 defense on a card.
Well, it's generic too, so you can play it in Azalea.
Finally,
you can build a full deck.
I may actually be able to block attacks. It's like
instant. 1 resource. Fire breathing gains +1 damage. Activate this ability only while fire breathing is attacking.
Yeah.
All your extra resources you can just dump right into this attack.
Yeah.
It's also 2 cost. You can play pummel on it. Then they can block. Then you can just pay until you're done paying.
I think this card will see some play. I honestly do.
You look at all the generics that are available now, and for me at least, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, like how many more ways can they manipulate a pool of cards they want everyone to have access to?
Yeah.
And here's back-to-back 2 cards that I'm looking at saying these are different, these are unique, just showing you how much lane there is left for this game to explore.
I'm really into this card.
It's so cool.
I'm really into it.
Yeah, I approve.
I mean, that you just kind of think about it, and it's like it makes any attack reactions or hit effects you stack on it like really awkward to block, like extremely hard to block. It's like, okay, so of course we don't have plunder on anymore, but that kind of an idea where it's coming in for, let's say, 5 or 6. And it's like, what do? You block 6, they pay 1, and you're hosed anyway?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to get wrecked. You do your whole hand, and then they sit on 2 cards. It's like, there's just a lot of play to that card.
Even the old school problem that I used to have, which is I was playing against Reinhardt and you'd intimidate my whole hand as Bravo.
Yeah.
And some Bravo hands are like, swing for 6.
Yeah,
you got
great.
5 cards in the seismic surge, so it's like swing for 6.
Yeah.
So even in that reality, it's like having this round for Guardian is play it on those turns. It's like pay 9 and just swing for 11, but I don't have to pay it until you dump your whole hand. You block with the whole hand. Cool. Arsenal pass, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I like that space a lot.
It's super good.
This is a crazy amount of majestic generics. And there's a higher number of majestics in the set than we've seen.
After such a diatribe the other day about generics in the game,
not aging well.
They were like, this dude,
I'm sure
has not seen Everfest yet.
If they were watching it last week, they're just over there giggling at everything.
But here's what I'm saying. I'm just thinking, why not put some of those in Tales of Aria? You give me fire breathing and those kinds of cards in Tales of Aria, and I'm like, oh, it's got a little more legs for me.
I don't know. We'll have to ask when we have them on the cast. All right, next we have Knick-knack, brick-a-brack. 3 cost, no attack, generic action, blocks for 2, majestic. As additional cost to play Knick-knack, brick-a-brack, you may destroy any number of copper, silver, and or gold you control. Now here
they're just delivering on everything I'm looking for, honestly. Yeah.
Sir, I want some.
So silver and gold do exist.
Let's go. Search your deck for a card with Amulet, Potion, or Talisman in its name. Put it into the arena, then shuffle. For each 4 copper, 2 silver, and or 1 gold destroyed this way, repeat this process.
Okay.
So you have 8 copper, 4 silver, 2 gold.
That's all exciting. But hold on, let me do a little. I'm going to do a diagram for you here.
All right.
Okay, here's our diagram of players. Let's say 50% of them.
Okay, I'm with you.
Are kind of like wanting to build good, solid decks that can maybe win a pro quest, etc. Okay, so this is spoken for. Then you have maybe I'm being nice here. Maybe 25% of deck builders, kind of where I land, which is more about like cleverness and self-realization in spite of current opinion, the hipsters of card gaming. So that's, and then you've got 5%, or I'm sorry, whatever this would be.
1/8.
1/8, yeah. What's that? 12.5%.
So then this little section is like, maybe they're like the super meta tournament players, like, gonna test every day, like, And then you have this slice of players who see this card and are entertained for the next 2 years. Essentially, I mean, honestly, it's that card where there are some players that look at this card and for the first time in Flesh and Blood say, okay, I'm willing to try this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Whatever this is,
I mean,
I'm here for it.
It's not that crazy. Picture someone like Kasei, who gets the copper tokens as a byproduct of what she's doing anyway. Doesn't have that. I mean, you have cash in is the only way to really use it right now.
Currently, yeah.
So more ways to use those tokens. And I'm assuming we're going to get more ways to get those tokens. And this also is stacks on stacks, right? I agree. I don't disagree with what you're saying, because you have amulets and potions that sometimes used, not frequently. So kind of like that Bravo, getting more uses of older cards.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It just takes 1 or 2 cards coming out to suddenly make a bunch of old cards exciting again. So, it's not hard to imagine. It's like, put 4 crazy brews or 3 crazy brews into play, 3 potions of energy potions into play, or 2 energy potions in 1, the double action one.
Does it play them when you go search them out?
Put it into the arena.
My gosh.
So even the ones that cost.
It's so good.
So, if you can get a couple gold, all of a sudden it's like 3 energy potions come out. That's not, I mean, you have to pay 3 to do it.
But see, I'm trying not to be in that 1/8.
But you're being pulled there. So the other thing, it's a generic action.
I try to draw a line.
It also doesn't have go again. So just keep that in mind. This is what you're doing unless you somehow also have a way to get 2 actions already. If you're playing the potions, maybe you already have time snap in play. But I'm also assuming we're going to get... Let's just keep going, because
that's awesome.
More stuff to go here. This round's on me. We saw this on that amazing holiday mat that Legend Story sent
sick.
out.
Yeah.
I love this. Blue, blocks for 3, generic action, has go again, cost 1. I'm liking everything so far. Each hero draws a card.
Okay, hate it. Hate giving my opponent stuff.
This goes back to that pit fight. If it were on a team, right? This is a really good card. Until the start of your next turn, attacks that target you have -1 attack, go again.
Okay, hold on a second.
Majestic, again. Generic action.
Okay.
So picture this against Katsu. I'm going to give you an extra card.
Yeah.
But all of your attacks next round are -1.
No, I wouldn't do it.
I would definitely do this in Briar.
Against Katsu?
Yeah.
A card for Katsu is worth at least 4.
Blue blocks for 3. Non-attack action.
I mean, yeah, okay.
So then...
It's got the fundies
I get halfway to my free go again token. And it gets me a card
back.
Well,
yeah, because Runeblade breaks the fundamental reality of the game, but maybe this, I like this more because we're seeing, let's say you've got that arrow and it's going to discard everything that's a certain type from their hand anyway. Give them a card and then discard it.
There it is. Or...
Cards are so valuable now.
I think the biggest piece is you're obviously pitching.
You draw 1 too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get the card.
That's fine.
It's just you can't give this to people who that extra card is going to make a meaningful difference to. Unless you're getting such a meaningful difference out of this ability. I don't think this card is like earth shattering.
Actually, it's pretty nicely in that pocket. I'm with you on this now. Like a blue block 3 that can get you out of a tight spot or potentially close out a game for you, especially when you factor in dominate.
Yep.
They can have 16 cards, and if you dominate successfully, they can only block with 1.
Yep.
So there's play here. I like this. Yeah, okay, I'm back.
And I also think in Briar particularly, the worst thing that happens is drawing no attacks. So anything that gets you cards, unless you pitch a blue, you have 2 floating, you play this, you get a card back. It's like getting to that next thing.
This is a sneaky card.
Yeah, could be very good.
This could be a kind of era-defining kind of a thing. The next meta, this could play a pretty big role.
This round's on me.
Huh.
If the meta gets too wide, too, even against Briar, right? She's got all these attacks coming in at 4. All of a sudden, now they're all at 3. That's so much more blockable.
Yeah.
So, think about it.
Okay. All right, I'm with it.
Speaking of party cards, Life of the Party. Red, 2 cost, generic action. It's rare, attacks for 4, blocks for 2. You may discard or destroy a card you control named Crazy Brew rather than pay life of the party's resource card.
I can't tell you how much fundamentally in every part of my being, I should not like this kind of card.
And you love it.
But then I'm like, why do I like it so much? And I think it's because we've been playing a lot of Star Wars CCG.
Just Flavor Town.
It's just like, well, I love that you can be specific on a card like Crazy Brew and just like, hey, this is kind of a staple of the game. We assume it's going to be around forever, and we're going to use it in different ways to like make it have more value or different value. So that's pretty cool. And what does it do?
If you do that,
Yeah.
and only if you do that, choose all modes. Otherwise, choose one at random. So
If you crack Crazy Brew, you get all three?
yes, and if you don't, you do one of these at random. So the first one is life of the party gains. When this hits, gain 2 life.
And it's a 2/4?
2/4. Yeah. It's rare, so it's probably a 2/3 and a 2/2 at the other colors.
Breakpoints we don't care about.
Life of the party. The other second mode is life of the party gets +2.
Now I care more about the 3 and the 2.
Final one is life of the party gets go again. So if you crack a Crazy Brew in order to play this for free, it's a 6 damage attack with go again, and if it hits, you gain 2. This is also like a weirdly there's good decks here, right?
I mean, this kind of looks good in Brute,
That's what I'm saying.
where you might want that Crazy Brew dice rolly anyway, and then also you get a standard 2/6 that you can crack in before you roll scabs. It's that kind of a card.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's a good card. Good art on that too.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
I mean, they're having a good time. That's what Aria is all about.
Huh.
And of course, we get the other colors.
I am more sold on this than I was.
The only thing that changes on this card is the stat, the attack stat. The actual modes stay the same all the way down to blue.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you got it. All right, next up, we get High Striker. 0 cost, no attack, generic action, 2 defense. The next time an attack you control hits this turn, create 6 copper tokens.
I mean, yes. Yeah, give me whatever deck this is.
And now
it's making all this money.
Note it says the next time an attack you control hits, not attack action, so weapons would count.
Okay. Beautiful.
Flavor text, step right up.
I just want to see where we going. I mean, it can't just be cash in.
Oh, and there's the yellow version. Creates 4 copper tokens.
I mean, you could
The
get
blue
it,
version creates 2.
and then you could cash it in for all those potions and stuff. But there's got to be something else. And we've got... You have to have Adult Cassie here, right? She's making copper tokens already.
It would really make me excited about Warrior.
Merchant
It
stuff,
sure
merchant
would.
cards.
Pick a card, any card. 0 cost red, generic action, blocks for 2. Look at the target opponent's hand. Okay, here's my hands.
Okay.
Name
The sensitive hands.
Then name a card. Choose a random card from their hand and reveal it. If it is the named card, create a silver token. Repeat this process thrice. So you get 4 times.
4 times total.
Yeah, and it's a generic action. So in my mind, one of the best moments to use this by default is I attack, you block, I have go again. You have 1 or 2 cards left in hand. I played this. I look at the card. My odds go through the roof.
50%.
Yeah, suddenly there's 3 or 4 silver tokens. We play that other card. Boom, I'm going to get 3 energy potions. We're off to the races. Like it's just the whole
I'm sure
nine
that's how it will happen every time. Also, the art is excellent.
I love this art. It's
Big
got that,
fan of this.
It's almost not mystical. There's this
ethereal,
fantastical nature to it. It's the whole Aria vibe. It's got this energy around it. I don't know what the appropriate word is for that.
It's not mystical, but it is like that Mononoke Miyazaki kind of thing. It's not arcane. Well,
there's like a positive magical energy to it.
We're
is
losing
the
our
definition.
words.
I just don't know the actual word.
Enchanting.
So let's see. Did we get the other colors of this one? Yeah. Okay. So okay, the yellow only repeats it twice, and the blue only repeats it once.
Yeah.
Which makes so much sense.
I mean, I just don't know where is it gonna go. What are we gonna do with all the silver? Silver naturally draws you a card for 3, right? It replaces itself. Copper's 4, silver's 3, gold's 2.
I have no idea.
I think that's
I think we see silver for in a big way in a second. So the other thing about this that's kind of interesting to me on any of the layers, and probably the blue one, is you get to look at your opponent's hand, and we haven't seen a ton of that. What do we got?
I'm just laughing because somebody said saying Cassie is the most Midwestern thing ever.
Oh, Cassie.
I mean, come on. It's funny.
We are what we are. So I think there is a certain, regardless of the silver tokens, that's a nice upside when it's hitting. But also just getting to know what's in your opponent's hand is relevant. Yeah. Like, you play this first, how do I need to pressure you this turn? or are you on a 6 damage Bravo turn and I can set up, right? That kind of a thing.
The game is gonna, it may get a lot more strategic. You may actually have the time to look and plan a little bit more than just wail on your best numbers.
Well, in order for that to be true, looking and setting up has to be worth a lot. Which I think we're gonna keep.
I guess we'll find out.
Next, we get Smash in Good Time. 0 cost, no attack, generic action, 2 block. The next time an attack action card hits a hero this turn, you may destroy an item they control with a cost 2 or less.
Yeah, hello. Thank you.
If Smash in Good Time is played from Arsenal, the next attack action card you play this turn gets +3.
Let me tell you something. I could not beat Dash going into Vegas testing, and this gives Azalea a shot.
I think Dash players are over in a ditch right now.
Oh, you mean they don't get to rely on the most efficient and easiest way to win a game in the world
Absolutely.
anymore? Well, that's fine.
As a Bravo player, this makes me very pleased.
Actually, Briar's got to be easier, right?
Well,
Lightning Briar?
I don't know.
I don't know.
All I know is that I love this card.
I just like to call out Dash players.
Let's see what the other colors of this do. So the cost 2 or less stays the same, but the pumps is different.
Pumps is different.
So the red is +3, the yellow is +2, and the blue is +1 from Arsenal.
Yeah. That's a fine exchange. This is blocks for 2, of course.
Yeah, and it's so specific.
Great tech card.
Like, obviously, it's a 0 cost go again non-attack action. Briar likes that generically. That also pumps, but the effect is so particular. Like only items.
We'll see what decks. I mean, it's good to seed this, I think, into the card pool.
Especially with all the crazy brew and potions and amulets and all that stuff going on.
So get out of hand.
I like that a whole lot.
Yeah, good solid generic.
Even bigger than that. 0 cost generic instant. No attack, no defense. Play even bigger than that only if you've dealt attack damage this turn. I'm
a really big fan of this card.
Opt 3. Then reveal the top card of your deck. If it has attack greater than the amount of damage you've dealt this turn, create a Quicken token and draw a card. So it's an instant. Let's say you scar for a scar. Let's pull that alt promo up just because it's beautiful. It has go again, right? Your opponent's like, I'm not blocking it. I'm taking 4.
Taking 4.
Did it. Play this card. Opt 3. All those 5 damage arrows are beautiful. Oh, look. I put the card I want to draw on the top that also hits this thing.
Technically the second from the top because you're about to draw.
That's right.
And, I did that with Death Dealer.
And you can leave a card on top that you want on top as the third card.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, I played Whisper of the Oracle, man.
Then you get Quickened and you get a draw card.
Yeah.
I mean, hot sauce.
Yeah.
The Quicken on top is what is really selling it.
I don't. There's a lot of potential in this. There's a lot of potential in this.
This card is so good. Let's see what the yellow.
This is the kind of card.
Yellow Ops 2.
That's the kind of card that defines what kind of a player you are.
To me, this is just a ideal mid-range card. Anyone that's going wide at all, but particularly I think the middle of the road people. This seems perfect.
But like Briar's probably not playing it because it's an instant, not a non-attack action, right? So it's kind of threading the needle on her pie and what she wants. Ranger kind of likes it because of the opt and everything that's going on there, but then you also have a Quicken token that maybe you can't load a second arrow, so it's like, maybe not. You've got a lot of different use cases, I think, for this card in different classes because it's just generically good. But then I immediately go to Ranger because you can flop the top card in with Azalea's ability, so you get kind of an extra use out of that. But also just setting up the next 3, getting Quicken on the hand you already have, and choosing in the top 3 what you're going to draw for this turn. I mean, let's see if we have room, right? For a no-block, conditional, potentially
what's that thing
good
about
card.
this card? We got any strong opinions?
Ninja, apparently. Why it's saying spicy and ninja?
Yeah, because you could dot you for 1. They don't want to block it.
Yeah.
Then you play this, get an opt, and draw a card, and probably roll.
It's actually, that's extremely good with that first Kadachi.
Then you get Quicken too.
Wow.
Which then loads up the bases.
That's extremely good in Ninja, actually. Wow. Katsu may have just caught up to Briar on that.
As immediate foil, your 6 damage arrow is great here. Because an instant, they don't want to play on defense.
That's right.
Right? They want it on their hand.
Yeah.
So you send 6 at a ninja, and they're like, Don't like that.
Looks like I'm going to the finals.
We obviously get 3 colors of that, etc. All right, Amulet of
It looks so good.
Haven Call. 0 cost amulet, generic action item. Go again, no block, no attack. Defense reaction. Destroy Amulet of Haven Call. Search your deck for a card named Rally the Rearguard. Add it to the chain link as a defending card, then shuffle. Activate this ability only if you have no cards in hand.
This is one of the strangest cards that's ever been printed in Fab. This may be the strangest card.
So, Rally the Rearguard is the one where you can discard a card to make it plus defense.
Yeah. It blocks for 2.
Which you can't do.
But you can't technically do. I mean, you can weasel your way into it, and you're still just blocking for 4 if you manage to do that.
Huh.
It's strange. This is a strange card. Rain's asking, do you all have an in-depth how to play and or deck building videos? We do. I would check out our Fab Foundations series, and we'll be adding more to that soon.
Yeah, there'll be a lot more deck building conversation. It's fun. It should help you build a deck in general and evaluate.
Understand the funnies. Go back to the other one. Can we read it one more time? I need to pick out every word that could make it weirder.
Blue, 0 cost. Go again. Defense reaction when it's in play. Destroy Amulet of Haven Call. Search your deck for a card named Rally Rearguard. Add it to the chain link as a defending card. Then shuffle. Activate this ability only if you have no cards in hand.
Okay, so let me put it to you a different way. If there was an amulet that you could play that had defense reaction, block for 2, if you have no cards in your hand, would that be valuable enough to play? If we add on top that it's going to like take out phantasms, I ran Rally in my Ranger deck to take out phantasms and then potentially to help block an erudition on the 4.
I mean, it's really great into the phantasm situation.
But are you really playing 3 amulets and 3 rallies to block a phantasm? No. There's something else going on here.
Yeah.
Something else is going on here.
You think we're going to get a hero that's from the rear guard and they somehow it's like even better? Or
there's like a story. Something is happening.
I don't know.
What's the rarity on it?
Rare.
Okay. Something's happening.
Straight down the line rare. Let's just keep going because I don't want to think about that too much or it starts bothering me. It's like an unsolved puzzle. One of those unsolved mysteries.
Yeah,
like,
but we don't have we don't have all the pieces, so we're just like, can't finish it.
Potion of Luck. 0 cost blue, generic action item. Instant. Destroy Potion of Luck. Shuffle your hand and arsenal into your deck. And draw that many cards.
I think it's a fine card.
Absolutely fine.
I would never play it because I don't want a deck that I have to like redo the hand because I didn't build it well.
I mean, they're exceptional. Like, person that I think about here is Briar. I draw no attacks. This is like a godsend. Like I even thought about running the Talisman or what's the shuffle your hand in?
The hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Talisman. Talismanic
Talisman?
Lens is the opt one. It's the other one.
It's the Merchant's Hood?
Yeah, that's right.
Or the Hope Merchant's Hood?
Hope Merchant's Hood.
Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
So,
but you start with that. Because like imagine a turn where you have to actually play this on your turn. And
because it doesn't have
go again. You better go get it with Click, Clack, Applejack, or whatever that card is.
Brick-a-brack, Smoky Stack. So the other thing I will say about in sealed, at least with Briar, I had a lot of times where I would end a turn with these, like the amulets. Yeah. To create the surge token that I get to keep going an extra. Like you have the go again anyway, and you just like stop a turn here.
Yeah.
But still, this is hard to imagine. Obviously, it's once it is in play, it's a fun way to get around like Command and Conquer. Instant, you Command and Conquer. I get all these cards in hand. You have a big 5-card hand instead of a card stuck down in arsenal.
True.
So there's
maybe I'll play it in Levia. Because it's one of those things where if you draw no banish attacks, you just lose. So do you have enough, let's say you roll your Scab Skins, you got 2 actions, you attack, play a Potion of Luck. We've thought about these things, but I think it's going to have to come in for free.
It's at least interesting.
For it to matter.
Man, Talisman of Featherfoot.
Aren't these the coolest things?
They look awesome. 0 cost generic action item. Go again. When an attack you control gains exactly +1 from an effect during the reaction step. Destroy Talisman of Featherfoot and the attack gains go again. And it has go again. So this
is actually a really good item.
I think it's how do you feel about it in Bolton?
All right, hold on.
It seems to pair with his ability really nicely.
When an attack gains exactly +1, destroy it, it gains go again, right?
And is it a May destroy? You don't have to do this, right?
Yeah, well,
it doesn't say May anywhere, but I hope it is May.
I don't think that's optional, man. I don't think that's optional. It's like a talisman. It happens when it happens. It's like a spell, and when the spell is triggered, it's cast.
Interesting. I immediately think of Bolton because he has a default +1.
Well, I think of Bolton, and I think about a deck that might just want to run all the blue pumps.
Sure.
What's that deck?
Yeah. Also, the Centauri Sabers are +1 when they.
Yeah.
In a certain way. What makes them +1 when
If
they block with an attack?
Block with an attack. Yeah.
So it's like you immediately just give it go again. That's really annoying.
Yeah. Huh. Don't they already have go again? They already have go again. The Sabers, right? Otherwise the combo wouldn't work.
Do they?
Do they? Yeah, they do. No, they don't.
No, you have to have enough soul to do your thing.
Why? How is it ever working? You gotta play hit and run and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You just gotta. Well, it's
Bolton works
because
you can
keeps doing
banish
it.
the soul.
Yeah, soul. Interesting.
I'm intrigued by.
Oh,
these...
Bolton's +1's not during the reaction step, so it has to be a +1 from a reaction, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Okay, so when is you +1 for the effect during the reaction step? Huh.
I don't know.
Ancestral Empowerment Ninja +1 reaction.
Okay. Yeah.
That's annoying.
+1 and go again. That's really
annoying. Why is all the ninja stuff so annoying?
Yeah.
This is a ninja card, right? It has to be.
Technically, those arm things we saw earlier from Brute gives your attacks +1. If you're in the reaction step, and aren't they an instant? No. You need an instant.
I think it's when
Is
you
like
roll
Crazy Brute instant?
Yeah, I think so. Potion one.
So you could do that in a reaction, the reaction steps. Crazy Brew, if you hit a 5 or 6, it's +1. Now it has to go again.
Practically it's a dex build.
I mean, we're there. I'm just, we're just exploring the balance.
Dory, with the steel blade +1.
We finally declared earlier this week that I am an optimist.
Yeah, you are.
So, Brute's my kind of class.
It's going to look awesome.
You need some real positivity to make it through the Brute experience. Interesting card. All these action items are kind of like.
But if I think about all of them coming in for free off of
Art of War,
I'm telling you that these are the kind of cards that get the deck building kind of a little spicy.
Yeah. But I like it. It's like they're.
But what are we getting? Go again?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting go again.
Yeah, but you can imagine you play an attack that doesn't have like Command and Conquer.
That's where I would start for sure.
Start there.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then you're like, Art of War. Banish an attack, draw 2, give all my attacks +1 during the reaction step. It suddenly is a 7, and now I'm going again.
Mm-hmm.
That's got play.
That could be devastating.
And the fact that it's an action that has go again built in immediately puts it in like an interesting category.
Puts it in the Ruin Blade pocket.
Yeah.
Does Ruin Blade have any +1 reaction? I mean, the blue ones.
Art of War. It's not really a reaction. Nothing that they're just like typically playing, but
Fire Breathing as well. Blue Thea deck, apparently. Who's Thea?
Dorinthia.
Oh.
You have the +1 blue reactions that you pitch a lot.
What are you doing with all that money? Well, I'll tell you what, being consistent. The number of times we play these Dorinthia decks that are winning like finals, and they have 18 blues.
15.
Sometimes 15.
15. It's like...
And then you draw the all red hand and you're like...
Blue Lightning Press, for the people at home who want to go there.
Lunging Press.
Yeah, hey, there it is. Basically built in.
Any other instance that give you +1 Fire Breathing is one?
I mean, the Dory, it makes sense in Dory. You are going to play blues anyway, and if you play the blue reactions, it kind of gets you in those odd numbers, and also... If you give your sword go again.
Does it say attack or attack action card?
It's attack. When attack you control.
Okay.
So I mean it's got play.
Yeah.
It's definitely there. That's the least weird of the ones I just experienced.
Yeah, I'm with that.
And it doesn't take your turn up to play it, right? And that's the end of the spoilers I have in the folder. I don't know if anything else has been spoiled since
let me check the official
Breaking Scales +1
channel.
Right?
Breaking Scales +1. Yeah, Breaking Scales.
So, it's seemingly very good in Ninja.
Yeah, but I've got 11 notifications.
A lot of times they don't need the go again. Master G saying Force of Nature. It is true it's +1, but they don't gain it during the reaction step unless you're playing it as an instant off the boots, which is very specific.
Card reveals. Okay.
Apparently there's Genis What You Need. I don't know if we have that card in the the pile to show, but I know he's like a merchant character we've seen somewhere.
We did good. I think we got everything on this channel.
Plasma Purifier. Is that during the reaction step, though?
Does it
is,
give
right?
+1 during reaction?
Let me look.
Oh, the only one we're missing. Okay, here's some silver and gold.
What's the silver do?
I know this will be surprising.
Plasma Purifier. Action. No, it's an action. Not during the reaction step.
Silver has action, spin 3, destroy, draw a card.
Copper's 4.
Yeah.
I assume gold is 2.
Yeah. So pitch a blue, sit on a free money, and replace the card. So you gain a resource if you crack gold.
On gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we do have Jinnis, what you need.
He's a merchant, right? We got our second merchant.
Young hero. So stream's over. It's been a pleasure. No, I'm just kidding. I'll at least read it. It's hard to read because it's on a playmat. Once per turn action. 2 cost. Each other hero may put a card from their hand on the bottom of the deck. If they do, they draw a card and you create a silver token. If you gain no silver this way, you draw a card.
How much does it cost?
Cost you 2. So let's just put it into terms we can all understand here. We'll go to the table.
You pitch a blue.
We'll pitch 2 in the swings.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide, do you want to put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck or not? If you do, I'm going to get a silver. If you don't, I'm going to draw a card.
But if I put a card on bottom, I also draw a card. You said I failed.
Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, I would never put a card on the bottom of my deck.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So you can put one on bottom and draw a fresh one, and I get a silver, or not, and then I draw a card.
Yeah. So
That's good.
it's cool.
That's really good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's fun.
Can't wait for the adult one.
True
we
Teller
just make
saying
that-
he's
can
an
we just-
ultimate fight pit guy.
Can we just be there? Can we make that our like curmudgeonly thing?
That's our big
We'll just
opinion.
We'll brand the show around it. We'll call the show Adult Heroes Only. Kind of gives the wrong impression.
I think that give the wrong impression. So it's literally day 2 of spoiler season. We have a whole week of it. By next Tuesday, we'll have a lot more spoilers to discuss, and we'll be a couple days away from the actual release of this whole set.
I have to say that so far I have been reinvigorated to a degree that I was not expecting.
They've shown very little, but also shown a lot.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Like it's excellent stuff. The cards are great.
Yeah.
Like I'm more excited for this than I was for Arya already.
Easily. I mean, I have a whole Bravo exploration pathway that has opened up now. I've seen none Runeblade cards yet.
Yeah. Great so far.
At all. I've seen a ton of generics that are interesting that I have a lot of use for, and then I'm just so excited to see the rest of these cards. And are we getting any other adult heroes?
Yeah, I mean, like,
And
pressure's on.
Apparently, the Fabled slot is, for whatever reason, like the Bravo hero, his number, and they've on the spoiler page it's laid out.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, the Fabled's the number 000 in the set. Finding these things out, I didn't know these, but people were speculating that it's almost definitely going to be, I think, either Guardian or Warrior for some reason.
Like they did the math.
Like the way the cards are laid out, it's like the Fabled almost has to fit in one of these slots. If we get a Guardian Fabled, like a gem or something, and it makes sense for an Arya. Bravo's kind of the main beat here. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Ryan is saying it is a class hero as if it's guaranteed. You know, because they go through all the set lists and the numbers, and they run it through their secret robot, and then it's like this. Like, how do you know?
Yeah.
And then they explain it, and
You
it
guys have
makes
logic
sense.
for how that's working?
It does make
curious.
sense. It always makes sense. I don't think they've been wrong yet.
Ever.
Not once.
Who's they? The proverbial they?
Yeah, you know, the editorial. Well, are you guys excited?
Yeah. What
Hit me up. Hit us up in the chat.
What card has you most excited at this point? Also worth reiterating, someone asking earlier if this is a good time to get into Fab. I think any time's a good time to get into Fab. Where I would start, though, is either grabbing a couple boxes of Welcome to Wraith. We have this listed on the site. It's this right here. Unlimited. That's a great place to start playing this game and learning, especially if you watch people play this game online. Open 6-packs, build a sealed pool, play a game. You'll be right in.
Tell me this. Be honest with me. Totally honest. Put away any, not that really it ever happens, but put away any perspective that might be based in your retail brain
and as a player, an observer, do you think that Welcome to Wraith Unlimited will be available in 2 months? Or will it all be gone? Because it's out of print now. How long is it going to last?
I have no idea. I don't know how available it is at like distribution or how many every retailer has, but I think that the set's coming out as you are already getting more excited. I think a lot of players are going to get re-engaged with the game. We're coming out of the holiday hibernation. We have a new set coming out that hits every hero, so everyone's going to be looking to explore all these new heroes. We're heading into ProQuest season. We're heading into the $1 Million Pro.
Organized play.
All the elements are there for us to spring into the future of Fab. And you look at stuff like that new Bravo hero showing up and the recognition that, like, if you want these cards, you should probably get them. So I don't know.
That's what I can't figure out is like how long is it gonna be another year of Welcome to Wraith Unlimited? Is like okay, cool, and that has its upsides. Because is it gonna evaporate in a month?
People were kind of freaking out when Arcane Rising got announced out of print as well. I think that was announced first, and it was like they spiked in price. People were going crazy. I think they're pretty reasonably just available now at like $90 to $100 or something. I haven't looked in a minute. So it could have been that they were saying, "Hey, we're gonna stop printing this," knowing that everyone was very well supplied. Like retail stores have had an ample opportunity to buy this. Distributors have this on their shelves. It's not moving fast, so like we do not see a need to keep hitting print. We want to go ahead and cut that off. In which case, it could be a while. But I could also see a world where print run numbers from the second cycle get announced. This game keeps getting more popular, and then it's just really hard to get again.
Because the crazy thing too is like I think this is absolutely the best place to start playing the game. Like, if you want to learn the fundamentals of how to play Flesh and Blood.
I think from a learning perspective, yes. But Monarch and Tales to me are also, if you like those themes and heroes, and you want to have 3 or 4 decks that are kind of balanced against each other, in the same way, this works.
It's just a lot. I still stand by, like, and that's probably why they did the first 3 sets like they did. Like, if I was starting with Monarch, or especially if I was starting with Arya, like those Blitz starters, man, that's a lot. So if you are starting there, if you have started there, and you're like, that's a lot. It is a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, compared to what we started with the Iris starter decks, and it's like, great, love it. And then you get this, and then you get Arcane damage, you're like, ooh, okay, let's go. And you get Crucible, some new concepts like that, and then you get Monarch Talents, and it's like, oh, okay. And all these heroes, which are working with Banish Zones, and then you got the Arya heroes, which have these weird cards to talk about attacks doing damage, and damage doing damage, and there is a lot to that. So it's just like, man, Welcome to Wraith is a great starting point. Simple. You're just throwing blades at each other.
I think Welcome to Wraith is a phenomenal starting point. And Tom Rose making a good point here, saying making things a bit more complicated is the Farewell to Wraith event this week. People have been opening boxes to prepare and play for that.
Oh, right. That's right.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see. I think the sealed experience for Welcome to Wraith is very strong. Just in general as a player and also as a learning tool. But yeah, I mean, maybe there's enough of it to go around for a year or two, but maybe there's not. That's when
we just don't know. I guess that's collectible.
Yeah, Ryan in chat, Ryan Roper was saying it's kind of like price chicken, which is it'll be widely available in this price until it's not, and then when it's not, it goes to the moon again, right?
Yeah, that's
until reprints happen in some meaningful way.
Things go to some degree. Matt says the most exciting thing is the adult heroes being released in this. So we know we're at least getting one. I agree. I need to see, honestly, bring on as many adult heroes as you can. Let's get as many distinct playstyles in the game. There's a limit to that, of course. King of Odonat is saying, Icelander, beautiful art, cool ability. Haven't loved most of the generics or items. Tom Rose said bravo. So that's a big winner. Michael Conroe says, yesterday I wasn't that hyped. The carnival theme was a miss for me. Totally, completely turned around today. And the cards look awesome.
I mean, that's one thing that's cool.
I'm the same way.
You were doing the pie chart. And I think it's really important to remember, it's kind of how I felt about Mac early on, which is thematically for me, it's just not what I'm interested in. Like the fantasy realm, and then you're integrating this like Steam technology stuff. I'm not offended by it, but I'm not interested in it. But recognizing that there's a lot of different people with a lot of different tastes that are being, they're in this community and being excited and served by this game ultimately. And I love that you can hit all these different vibes and themes to make it exciting for a wider range of people. Everything from the diversity of the character all the way, like literally the diversity to the styles of cards and play and whatnot.
There's so many styles if you really look at it.
Yeah.
They're not all perfectly like level,
No.
but the ability to play in different ways and engage with the game in different ways is really impressive given how it's not so far outside. Like we're not putting together Exodia.
Yeah.
We're not getting new win conditions. Those kinds of things don't exist yet.
Yeah, and you're not introducing like bizarro things to the universe. And I've seen so many people I know from different games in the past playing this one game where you can tell thematically there's enough going on to interest a wider range of people, which I think is cool. So same thing here with the carnival theme. If every card in the set was just heavy carnival vibes, that might be too much.
Yeah.
But lore-wise and theme-wise, you have this Everfest, going on, and it's this party. And it's cool to lean into that. We also were super dark earlier this year with Monarch, right? In the like shadow realms and stuff. So just kind of weaving all these different places. I'm excited to kind of just be on the ride.
Arcuro, that Kraken aether vane got me excited for Wizard. I'm so into that as well. Master G said 2 words, Fractal replication, and Matt Hogan follows that up. Illusionist Majestic has me most excited so far. Nico9 on fire breathing. Mario Del Barrio saying I'm most excited for Fractal replication. Also, Obsidian saying we played Welcome Wraith Cube this past Saturday. It was great. Highly recommend.
Cubes are also super, super nice to have.
Nathaniel, I think this is right. Wouldn't be surprised if they start printing semi-competitive CC decks so new people coming in don't feel behind. I think that's the next step, obviously, right?
The CC pre-con decks for $15 or $20 that, you're not going to have a Tunic and a Skullcap and all the high-value cards if you're going to maintain collectability. Pokemon does that.
Yeah.
Some will be really rare and they'll just print it in a $20 box.
Yeah.
Or Yu-Gi-Oh! I think is particularly bad about that. But if you... And the variety we're getting, we're even seeing it, like that warrior helmet that we saw in our preview. Helm of the Lightfoot, or what is it? Helm of Sharp Eye. There it is. The Featherfoot was the other one. You can imagine where, like, it's not Skullcap. It doesn't block for 3 health, but, like, it's 1 health and it's doing something.
Yeah. It's a viable competitive slot.
Yeah, I would love to see $20, like, playable in a tournament decks available on shelves. I don't think that's hurtful to the game in general. I think that's very helpful.
You know what else I'm thinking about with this? Speaking of helpful things, that card where you done damage, you opt 3, and then you crack the helm because you know what the top card is to banish. And I mean, there's going to be some things to put together. You can see it from a LSS design production perspective, where let's say this is what you think you should do. You start out and you have the Iris starter deck. And then your first cycle, you've got the starter decks for the 4 heroes. Remember those guys? Those bricks?
That's chunky.
Were they Blitz? They weren't Blitz, were they?
CC.
They were CC.
Blitz didn't exist back then.
They were CC, though. There was that many cards? For real? I thought they were like 40 cards or something weird.
They were full decks. Yeah.
So then you go into the second cycle, and you print all your Blitz decks. Because I think at that point, like, that's the thing, is there's a pandemic going on, you're trying to get people into your game, but you don't want to have to buy all these CC cards and kind of do the giant thing. So you start pushing Blitz as a format, you start making that happen, less cards required. Availability was very hard at that point, so things were rarer to find, and Crucible was out of stock, and it was a madness. So I could see going into this next cycle, post Everfest, we kick it off with CC decks and kind of get our ground floor now under
especially
us.
Especially with
kind
the
long
organized
term
play firing up, right? And you're kind of doing this thing. But I also, like I said, with the diversity in the game and the play styles and the characters and everything, if the audience is big enough, being able to support CC, competitive, Pro Tour stuff, and also casual, like more
even
casual.
Ultimate Pit Fight for that matter.
Yeah, multiplayer, PvE, Ultimate Pit Fight, Draft and Sealed, local style events, all the way, everything in between. That robust level of support is how you sustain a very wide audience for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And you give cards value that aren't just in this one format, right? So, but that's a tough act to balance.
It is tough.
And you have to have the audience to do it. So, like, it's chicken and egg. A lot of games are so small that you divide the audience and then there's not enough people playing anything, which I don't think Fab is there, but you have to get to that audience first. So it's a struggle.
It's a crazy thing to try to do. That's why
Once
it's so
you're there,
hard
you
to
gotta
do
balance it, right? It's
so
crazy.
many people have failed. DIY, this is a good comment. see, and I've seen comments on Discords and Reddit that Everfest might not have an unlimited print run. That's an unknown for us as well.
Yeah.
So nobody, well, to my knowledge, nobody knows. There are people that know. I don't know who they are, except LSS folks. We don't know if there's gonna be an unlimited Everfest or not.
I feel like somewhere I saw a box of unlimited with that little strip on it.
I mean, I can do that right now in Photoshop.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't. In my brain, I've seen it, but we have no confirmation it's happening.
No, I don't know that they will. That's what we got to figure that out. We need to know that. Skull Crusher is my jam, says Tho. Excuse me, I think it's Thobui. I will do my best on that. Fiddy said that wizard weapon, so that's exciting.
The Kraken.
I'm on that wizard weapon too, man. I mean, you
weren't ready for that, were you?
It got me to do it.
It just showed up, and here you are.
It got me to do it. Evan saying what you were saying. Everfest Unlimited hasn't been formally announced yet, but Unlimited boxes have shown up in marketing materials. I think it's a matter of when, not if. But, you never know, because we saw that poster that had a mistake on it as well that went out.
It was what we were talking about last week, too, the fundamental reality of if you're printing first edition and there's enough of it that it's in stock on shelves in MSRP, currently, to print Unlimited, you're probably going to print at least, if not more, than you did first edition, because it shouldn't be rarer than first edition. And then recognizing there's a little chicken egg problem there too, because if you don't print Unlimited, let's say you say, we're not printing Unlimited. Everyone that was waiting around for Unlimited because they think it's going to be cheaper or really cheap in the end.
Yeah, the ball gets spiked.
And even collectors, it's like, oh, there's a lot less in the market now. Now the price skyrockets, and then you're back in the position like, well, should we print Unlimited again? And you have to print this big wave of Unlimited. So I don't envy the position of trying to figure out how to move forward with this product line, where you went from this insane never printing enough to seemingly you can print enough finally, and how you deal with that transition and a rotation and having to print more Unlimited than you're printing. It's like that's an equation I don't want to have to balance.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing, man. It's so strange. Evan Gassman saying from a theme perspective, I've got to guess there's a shadier, creepier side at Everfest. So we can maybe, we can see some shadow cards, we see a light card. And...
I would assume lore-wise and story-wise, you have this big party gathering, and that something happens there that pushes us forward, right? Like maybe not, but yeah, if we're gonna get cards for every hero, you presume even the darker side of the story is gonna show up.
Too.
I mean, I just want to know, is Viscera at the party?
No. Tom Rose, it's going to be a good period for Fab because it will be a great time for brewing and casual, as well as a good time for competitive with ProQuest. I think it is about to be a really nice... these supplementary sets seem to really flesh out these concepts and ideas, and Heroes benefits tremendously from Crucible. You imagine how Heroes without Crucible looked.
Totally different. Yeah.
So it's going to be a good time for everything.
Aaron Clark saying, if I buy a Blitz deck, am I able to use those cards to turn the Blitz deck into a constructed deck? Are those cards approved for competitive play? Yeah, they're all tournament legal. The only real difference between Blitz is that it's 2 per deck instead of 3 on most cards. You still have a hero, you still have equipment, you still have a weapon. All these cards are legal. And then to make it a constructed deck, you just have to add 20 more cards, essentially.
Yep. All right, well, I think we've done it. So, gosh, we've got more previews. I guess next week we'll cover the rest of the week.
I think that...
We'll have the whole set, won't we?
I think we'll have the whole set. Because, except for maybe like very obscure alt arts and that kind of stuff, because I think there are people that have boxes that were sent that are scheduled for later in the week. They're going to an unboxing kind of a situation. So I think by next week we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Well,
and speculate about.
I guess we shall. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're happy to have you. Things I guess you should know.
First edition
subscriptions. Get it now.
Currently available.
They're open. They are, they're hovering right there. So like if you've been thinking about making the jump, it's a good time to do it. The way that this works is people are like, maybe I should get on that. And then they don't. And then they process. And then the set gets previewed. And then the promo drops. And then we get contacts about, is there any slots left? Is there any way to make this happen? And there isn't. So just do it now. Just sign up. It costs you nothing. even if you want to drop a month or two later when you're like, I'm not interested anymore, nothing costs you money in that process. But you can sign up right now, and then whenever the next set comes out after Everfest, you'll be guaranteed to get the promo. You'll be guaranteed to get first edition box of the set. Like if Everfest goes nuts and then all of a sudden demand is there again and everything's going crazy, it's MSRP first edition boxes. So like we will honor that. So it's just like an awesome deal. So yeah, sign up.
And worth pointing out,
buy my book.
Any boxes we have available, we'll be putting in stock on release day. Leftovers from failed charges, or we keep extras in case loss or damage and delivery and all that kind of stuff.
No promos, but
yeah, no promos, just boxes straight up. And then ProQuest coming up. Definitely check those out wherever you're at. But we have ours in March. And then also give a shout out to Hayden Dale winning the Australian National Championship.
I watched that final
with Viscera.
Now that final obviously was bogus. Anyone, a casual observer of the game would be like,
"What is happening?
This is crazy. Yeah. The game is busted. It makes no sense." But you know what's funny is like it's actually the Oldhim side of that equation is the problem, because if you say, okay, so Oldhim's coming into the game, and you've tested this matchup a lot, right? So Oldhim comes into the finals, and the Oldhim strategy.
You remember what I was saying? I played last week.
Yeah.
Viscera.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So the Oldhim goes to the finals. All defensive build, all defense, fatigue, control, etc.
Someone enters the arena and says, I don't want to attack.
Yeah. And so against most heroes, it's very effective because they're just a wall. It's like in Street Fighter or Streets of Rage when you're attacking that statue. And it's just like the statue's hard to kill. But then if you look at, what counters that? And you say, well, if I'm not being attacked as Viscera, I have unlimited time to build up 1,000,000 run chance and send them all at once as a giant Goku level spirit bomb.
The only way that goes wrong is if you draw only attacks in your hand.
That's right.
And you have enough rune chance you can't use your Grasp of the Arcanite.
Which further incentivizes Oldhim not to attack.
Right.
Because then you can clear your hand and
because if I'm sitting and I can't get more rune chance, I just pass.
Yeah.
Or I attack and my rune chance pop. But if I just pass, you can just pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the time rules are, but I know Oldhim runs the health gain stuff.
Yeah.
So I think if you end up in that scenario, that if Viscera just passed and you passed and then game ends, Viscera loses.
Yeah.
Because he's got less health. So he would have to attack and then restart the build the rune chance moment. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically it was just, okay, well, if this is how Oldhim's going to play, I'm going to pivot into a Viscera via sideboard. That is just OTK's one turn kill. It's basically, and it wasn't, it was two-ish. But it's built up a ton of run chance and then overwhelm the defense because Oldhim wants to block small to medium attacks over and over again.
He can because of Crown of Seeds and the shield, he can pitch a blue to use Crown, prevent one, put his arsenal under and draw a card. Has the floating resources. So block with the shield. He can usually turn those resources into 3 block.
Mm-hmm.
And then he still has the 4 cards left.
Yeah.
So he can block for 15 every hand.
That's why most people do that.
Yeah. So even if you had all 0 cost 4 attack go again cards somehow, 4 of those is only going to get 1 damage through.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got to do a big attack. And so I think he had like a 62 damage turn or something.
It was
past
crazy.
all the blocks.
Yeah.
After you factor.
Which is only really possible because you didn't do anything to him for so many turns. And he did his big Sonata with Skeleton turn, and it was kind of okay.
It was okay.
It could have gone a lot better.
Yes, it could have been the turn, but it turned into a setup for
it got him down to 4 and got a little nervous. But yeah, I mean, I think the problem there is Oldhim, and I'm glad there's an answer. But that was part of if you're trying to answer Briar pre-ban errata, Oldhim is good against Briar, but so is Viscera is probably less strictly good against Briar.
Mm-hmm.
He loses some percentage points, but he gains a ton against Oldhim.
Yeah,
which is the other answer, and even Lexi. So it's just like he's a good choice.
Absolutely. So yeah, big shout out to Hayden Dale, friend of ours, friend of the show, and definitely the only valuable voice on Arsenal Pass. So hey, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you being here.
The Brendan Burns have returned. It's 2022.
Season,
Let's go.
Man. Let's do it. If you need anything from us, we'll be on stream every Tuesday. And shout out to Aaron Clark. I saw you just added a Blitz sub. So cheers to you.
Shout out to Legend Story as well for sending the previews. And from everything I can tell, from continuing to do a great job and give us a game that we love to play.
We'll see you next week.